news in Major League Baseball today involving the Houston Astros. They are trading outfielder Kyle Tucker to the Chicago Cubs. That deal is done. In return, the Astros get infielder Isaac Paredes, third base prospect Cam Smith, and right-handed pitcher Hayden Wesneski. There are also three teams reportedly in the mix for Astros free agent third baseman Alex Bregman. One of those being the Astros, the other two the Yankees and the Tigers.
Joe Reinagel.
That's the third time in 7 seasons the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minix.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix in Washington, D.C. for Army Navy Media Row presented by USAA. And where we are right now at Arlington National Cemetery, I'm going to tell you, we have had an incredible day, a moving day, very interesting in that respects, but and we'll get into some of that. We've got a lot to talk about, but this baseball breaking news, who would have thought on a football Friday? And I know there was some talk about it, some buzz about it. We talked about it yesterday with John McClain. The Astros trade Kyle Tucker. Bummer.
To the Cubs,
to the
Cubs. Goodness gracious. He would trade him to anybody but the Cubs.
I'm mad as an Astro fan, and you're mad as a Cardinal fan.
The Cubs? Oh, my gosh. Worst franchise in baseball history. I hate those guys.
Yeah.
The Astros do get some stuff in return, though,
sure,
I will say. And they get a decent prospect, in fact, in a third base prospect, and the guy by the name of Cam Smith. They also get a right-handed pitcher, Hayden Wesneski. And
Houston guy.
Yes, Houston guy. And infielder Isaac Paredes, I think is how you say that. So there you go.
Yeah, again, major baseball news to start a football Friday. And we've got a lot going on today here at Army Navy Radio Row. The guest list today, who we have scheduled, if you're watching on YouTube, I know we've got Joe Theismann coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll visit with Heisman winner Mark Ingram. He's going to be on the show. Ron Rivera will be on. I got to translate Eastern times. He'll be on 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 in San Antonio. Jacob Hester, who's fantastic. The commissioner of the American Athletic Conference is going to join us. We've just got a loaded show here today from Washington, D.C.
Well, I can't wait to talk to Tim Pernetti from the commissioner from the AAC. All kinds of stuff to talk to him about, a lot of it involving the UTSA Roadrunners. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's just been what a blast it's been here today. I mean, I know there's a big trade, but there you go. He's going to the Cubs, so he's going to go there to die. So that's about what's going to happen. So we don't have to worry about Kyle Tucker anymore. But we've been here at the Arlington National Cemetery, Jason, and had an opportunity to walk around a little bit. Saw the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We also saw where President Kennedy is buried.
The Eternal Flame.
Just fantastic stuff.
It is. It's weird because we are at a cemetery. We are, ironically, not the biggest national cemetery.
Unbelievable.
I learned that today.
Yeah.
There's one in Riverside, California, that is bigger. But everywhere you look, it's just incredible. But I've been here before and seen the Eternal Flame, but I've never been to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So we're walking up there, and it's 9 degrees outside, but it's fine. We're walking uphill both ways. Actually, we paid $20 to get a trolley ride down, but
that's 20 ever spent.
Absolutely. but and it's weird because again, I understand where we are and what that means. So to sound excited, I mean, it was just incredible. But we got lucky that when we got to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, because this is a massive place, the amount of acreage that they have here. But we got there about 10 minutes before the changing of the guard, so we got to see that. And I know, holy cow. I mean, that was incredible to witness. And you think about those soldiers that are assigned that duty, the honor it is for them to do that. But for us to be able to witness that was incredible.
I tell you what, it's incredible is a great word for it. It was a touching moment, and the precision that they do that with, and the ceremony that they do that with is just something else. So, man, it's been a great day to see that. Everything that we've seen here at Arlington National Cemetery has just been incredible. So, very proud to be here, and man, what an experience! My first trip to Washington, D.C., obviously then my first trip to the Arlington National Cemetery, and it's been eye-opening and something to see.
And it's one thing to, I mean, you see pictures of it on television. I've posted some photos on my social at Jason Minix, at Joe Reinagle 210 on Instagram. In fact, Reinagle's got a video on his Instagram of the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which, again, incredible to witness in person, completely unexpected.
Yes. We just got lucky.
Yes,
we did.
And I mean, we didn't plan any. I mean, we didn't plan it, and we kept talking like, do we want? I mean, because it's a long walk from where we are to there, a little more than a mile, and again, it's 9 degrees outside. But we're also on a schedule, and there were some things that we could have done that we were like, I want to go. We both wanted to go see the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So bypass some opportunities that, other stuff that we could have done. And I'm so glad that we did.
Yes. Without a doubt. And it was so well worth it. It was great to see. If you're never done, you got to put DC on your bucket list, because it's just a great thing. And we're going to scratch the surface as to what there is to see and do here. But that today was a highlight. I mean, it was just incredible to see that. It's just such a touching moment, and to see the names on the tombstones, and some of these
dates.
Some of these soldiers are 17, 18, 19-year-old kids.
Yep.
And it's just it's, man, I tell you what.
Well, and I mean, 200. How many? 220,000.
425,000.
Yeah. And I mean, and you're seeing 3-4 stars, 2 presidents that are buried here. One we all know, and that's Kennedy with the Eternal Flame. And then you go by another one on the trolley that we paid $20 to come down on. It was like, there's 2 presidents
a long walk,
here, man. And there's President Taft, and we walked right by it, and we had no idea that was it. They
had no idea.
Yeah, they don't have the. All right, there's where President Taft is.
You got JFK with the Eternal Flame, right?
Yes,
and his wife's next to him, and that's beautiful. And then Taft is just kind of
it's there.
It's there.
I mean,
it's just there.
But no signage that tells us that and only 2 presidents are buried here.
That's it, which surprises me a little bit. And then I'm thinking, well, and the guy on the trolley said, well, he was a Supreme Court justice, and I'm going, that's awesome.
Here's the brilliance of Joe Reinagle.
And then all of a sudden it's like, ding! Oh, Taft High School. Hello. And all of the North Side schools are named after Supreme Court justices. So there you go. I snapped and learned something.
We're educating Joe Reinagle today.
Thank you for that.
But surely,
yes, I'll get there.
It is happening. Man, I tell you what, the Army-Navy game tomorrow, the uniforms are on display here where we are. I've got some photos of that. So does Joe. Again, they're on Instagram. Go check them out at SA Sports Star, at Joe Reinagle 210, at Jason Minix. Navy's uniform in person looks a hell of a lot better than Army. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Navy type.
You might be. I'll tell you what looks better is the Navy, the little logo on the helmet.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes.
It really is. That does kick Army's butt, by the way. But I think Army overall, the uniform's better looking.
I'm going to credit Rob Thompson with this, because he was saying what the Army uniforms look like you were spray painting a ceiling, and you know how stuff falls on you. That's how the Army uniform looks. And you know what? Rob Thompson is spot on with that.
It's a hell of a lot better looking than the Navy uniform.
No, it's not.
It is.
It is.
The Navy uniform looks like, I don't know, those guys in the sailor suits, the ice cream outfits that they wear.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
The all whites with the
milkman?
The milkman.
No, they don't.
Sure.
No, he's got the Jolly Roger on there. Everything, man.
But it's solid white. It looks like like a sailor.
Well, it is Navy. You understand what?
I do.
You know,
I'm just saying that the
sailors are
no
Navy.
Disrespect to you Navy types. I'm talking about a uniform.
Sailors are Navy.
Yes.
But there is blue and gold up on the shoulders, right? The number is blue. I mean, white pants, white jersey, blue numbers, Navy and blue.
Yes.
A little blue on the. It's not solid white like your milkman, but you call them sailors. Navy is sailors.
Well, they are. Yes. It's funny to see. We went to a breakfast this morning, and it's funny to see the rivalry because you had an Army guy from USAA and a Navy guy from USAA, and they were talking a lot of trash.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. Let's talk to a guy that we used to talk a lot of trash about. Joe Theismann.
Yeah, Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann, Redskin legend in Washington, D.C., of course. So we're here. We'll talk to Joe Theismann coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars.
Hey, let's talk about Stevens Roofing before we do that. I love talking about Stevens Roofing, and I've been doing it for a long time now, and I'm really proud to do so. Local company, family-owned company, and they just do things right. Of course, your roof covers your home, covers your family, covers everything that you hold dear, so you have to have a reliable roofer you can trust. Well, that reliable roofer is Stevens Roofing. And it doesn't matter what kind of project you have. You got a commercial building that needs a roof, Stevens can handle that. How about a metal roof on your house? You ever thought about that? Well, if you have, Stevens Roofing is the number you need to call. They're licensed by the city of San Antonio. Estimates are always free. That phone number is 210-785-0994. If you're like me and everybody else on the planet been looking to save a little money these days, everybody's looking to do that, and you've been thinking about going solar, well, guess what? Stevens Roofing can help you out there as well. And you know, solar panels are increasingly affordable. They can save you money on your monthly utility bills. They will often increase the value of your home, and there are even options to keep the lights on when the grid goes down. Recent reports suggest that could very well happen in the great state of Texas in January or February. Call Stevens Roofing. You can take care of that right now. Whether it's roofing, whether it's solar, the local you need to call the local company that's been trusted for decades. That is Stevens Roofing. 210-785-0994. Stevens Roofing has your family covered. Give them a call. 210-785-0994.
South Texas College Football Headquarters is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And the most wonderful time of the year for fans. Bowl season is no exception. The biggest and best matchups this bowl season are brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Break Room Bar. Hear them all on South Texas' first and only FM sports station, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know, our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you're thinking about a compact tractor and you want the best, you can afford a Kubota. I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota. Come into one of our 11 locations and check out the new Kubota L2502 package deal, including a 4-wheel drive tractor with hydrostatic transmission, a front loader, a rear mower, a box blade, and a trailer, all for one low price. With a deal this good, you can afford a Kubota from Ewald Kubota. From the Ewald family to yours, Merry Christmas.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
New deals on last-minute holiday finds just dropped at Lowe's. Save $600 on a Whirlpool fingerprint-resistant stainless steel side-by-side refrigerator. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members save $50 on an Allen & Roth Brighton pull-down kitchen faucet. Your choice of finishes for $79. Lowe's knows deals. Offers valid 12/12 through 12/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowes.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
Something magical happens when you unbox the best of British TV with BritBox. Stream acclaimed series starring Olivia Colman, Idris Elba, Sophie Turner, Matthew McFadden, and more of Britain's brightest talent. See what's inside, discover something remarkable, and uncover what perhaps you were looking for all along. Unbox BritBox and stream the best of British TV. Start your free trial at BritBox.com.
South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Sunday at noon. The Cowboys hit the road to take on the Carolina Panthers.
Keep rolling. I like this kind of party.
Pre-game starts at 11 a.m. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota.
You asked for it, you got it. How about them Cowboys?
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. Promo couldn't have been more perfectly placed. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix, the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, live in Washington, D.C. for Army-Navy Media Row with Redskins legend Joe Theismann. Well, welcome on to the South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys, Joe.
Yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah.
And don't expect any sympathy.
I mean,
great being with you.
It's great to have you on. We've been fortunate to have you on our show a couple of times throughout the years. And, you know, while you played for the team as a Cowboy fan, we all didn't like it. You know, the idea of you like Texas, you like San Antonio, you have a very strong connection.
Yeah, Redmond Combs was a dear friend. He and Charlene were just the most wonderful people in the world down there. And I used to, if I was anywhere near San Antonio, I would find a way to come and spend time with them and just sit and talk game. I mean, really met him when he owned the Vikings, and you know, of course, the Spurs and the Nuggets, and just really had a chance to talk about the game, the philosophy, from a different perspective than you get from coaches or players. You know, from ownership, and just he was a big man. He had a big presence about him, and I just absolutely loved him. I just really did. And our dear friend lost a number of years now have gone by, but his legacy lives on. University of Texas, the medical school there, and everything that he did for the universities, and you know, the Formula One track.
Oh yeah,
I think he's a part of that. So yeah, I really appreciate him. And my granddaughter lives in Dallas, so but she won't tell me who she roots for.
Well, you know.
I know. Carissa's loyal to whomever Carissa's loyal to.
As girl dads, we understand.
But yeah, it's, you know, as far as we're talking about, as far as the Cowboys go, I think that I never, you know, there's some moves that they've made that just, you know, I know are head scratchers for all the fans, and even for fans of football, not just fans of the Dallas Cowboys, but fans of football. You look at some of the decisions, the people they got, people they didn't get, and, you know, all, and it's like the frustration is bubbling up right now. I guess you could almost say they were lucky to beat Washington, and it might have been a good thing for them that they did at that time. But you know, Mike's got a challenge on his hands to be able to, you know, get this team back, and now they get the Carolina Panthers, and it's a team that they should match up pretty well against, and sort of get the ship righted a little bit more. But you know, Micah Parsons is something special. He really is. We talk about generational talent. He's one of those people that is generational talent. I mean, maybe we'll have him here in Washington next year.
That won't happen.
Well, you never know, right? Joe, as a player, though, you have no control over what management does and the people they bring in and stuff. Was it ever frustrating when you thought maybe they weren't doing enough to improve the team?
It's different today. There's a lot more input from players today than there was. We were point and shoot. In other words, I tell you to do this, you do that. I didn't have a lot of audibles. Coach gives call to play. I got to the line of scrimmage. I had 5 options. It was my job to read the defense and get it to the quote-unquote open receiver. Today, these guys throw it to the guy that's least covered. I mean, if it's these 50-50 balls, to me, they're the dumbest things in the world. And, what's happened for a defensive back, for example, you can't touch a guy off the ball. They beat the living crap out of our guys. Right from the moment this ball was snapped, I mean, they were in a fist fight. And you had to work on your trade to get away and get open. The worst rule that was created for wide receivers was the 5-yard rule because they got lazy. They don't work hard enough to be able to get open, which is the object for me to throw the ball to them so that they don't get the living daylight speed out of them and they can catch it. Possibly keep running and go score a touchdown instead of trying to fight somebody that you're going up for a 50-50 ball on. And so, like I say, it's a different time. I never tried to get into management. I never tried to figure out exactly what's going on. Aaron Rodgers in that sort of that situation with the Jets. It's guys that he's familiar with, and you're the player. Okay. Now I think maybe that's a little bit different today. Maybe there's a little more input for them, but you're the player. That's the coach. That's the GM. That's the owner. They were all different. Now it's all just sort of mushed together to a degree where, if you think this guy might help or you think that guy might help, you still have to put the time in together. That's the big thing. That's you look at Dak over the last couple of years. When Dak came back after the injury, broken leg, he struggled because he had arm problems. I went through the same thing. You lose the power in your right leg. It has to be the mechanism of throwing is like 100%. If you lose a percentage somewhere, it has to be made up someplace else. He lost the power in his leg, so it had to be made up in his arm. All of a sudden, your arm started to get sore. I knew it was going to work itself out. Now, unfortunately, he winds up, he's got to sit on the shelf again for another year. And the economics are whatever Jerry feels like he wants to do with people. That's his choice. But I feel for Dak because, he's now going to be in a rehabilitated state again coming back into next year with what does this team look like? He's going to be 32 years old next year. They had me out of the game at 35. Hey, when I got hurt at the age of 35, you couldn't get me out of the game quick enough. And they had the next guy waiting. But who's the next guy waiting in Dallas?
He's not there.
Not there.
And so, and who do you take? To me, if I was the Dallas Cowboys, I would take Genty. I would take the kid out of Boise.
First round?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if Saquon Barkley isn't an example to everybody, goodness only knows what the Giants were thinking to let him walk out the door. But he goes to Philly, and they're a different football team. Why are the Philadelphia Eagles playing the kind of football they're playing? I don't know if Jalen's any better. I think he's a solid quarterback. AB doesn't appreciate the fact that his targets have been taken away and that's been given to Saquon. But Saquon makes a difference. Derrick Henry. I can name the running back position in our game doesn't get the respect it deserves. It doesn't get this. And then bringing, Zeke back. What did that accomplish?
Nothing.
And he's not even playing.
No.
On top of it. And then I think, isn't the running back, wasn't he a converted something wide receiver or something, the young one?
Well, Rico is fine.
Rico's good, yeah.
But Deuce Vaughn,
yeah.
I'm taller than Deuce Vaughn, and
but
it shouldn't be.
It's an organization. As I look at just the Cowboys, I think that there's going to be a transformation and things that they're going to have to work through with age, with salaries, with contracts, and it's going to be a challenge. It really is for Mike and Jerry to be able to. Okay, let's step back and say to our fans who have great expectations as Cowboy fans, like they have here in Washington, there's an expectation here. There's a standard that has been set that we don't feel like you would get to. We're finally getting closer again after 20 some odd years. And okay, how can we? There's no quick fixes, but how can we lay the foundation to get this thing pointed in the right direction? I think that's what Dallas is basically facing.
Joe Theisman joining us here on the Blitz. We're in Washington, D.C. You mentioned earlier about receivers and the contact off the ball. You look at today's game, quarterbacks, you really can't touch them. Your day, that single bar face mask.
These teeth aren't mine.
So those watching on YouTube, you just saw that. I mean,
these are veneers. They were bonded. Now they're veneers. I made a little more money, so I could afford to put the veneers in. But Byron Hunt took these out. Of the Giants. Oh yeah. I was dropping back, and I turned, and nobody blocked him from the right side. I turned, and he caught me because I wore the single bar. He caught me right under it. It was in the playoff game against the Giants in '82. He knocks I get down, and I'm getting up. I'm
like a hockey player.
Spitting, yeah. I could have moved right into hockey real quick. I'm spitting my teeth out. I get to the sidelines, and Coach Gibbs looks at me and goes, "Holy heck." I said, he says, "Well, we'll get Jay ready." I said, "No, I can call signals. I can do this. I'm okay. Okay, I got the coach. Let me go back in." So, yeah, but that was, it's different. I think as far as the protection of the quarterback goes, I'm all for protecting any athlete, anybody in the field. But when you get pushed to the ground, that is not a roughing the passer. That they need to. I think the biggest beef by coaches or any fan is there has to be some degree of consistency when it comes to officiating some of the penalties. This is my suggestion to the National Football League as a fan of the game and a lover of the game of football. You have to be able to allow every play to be challenged. We've seen too many missed face mask penalties that have changed the course of games. Because you say we don't want the officials, really determining the outcome of games. By missing these plays, we are. The other side of it is they say, well, we have technology that makes the game better. Why not use it?
Exactly.
But don't give the coaches any more challenges. I'm not giving you any more. I'm not going to slow the game down. And Belichick has been screaming for this for years. Let's challenge every play. And it's not an insult to the referees. It's just that I heard the one referee, I think, when there was a face mask penalty in the end zone that they missed and wound up costing the team the game. The official came out and said, I didn't have a view of it. Well, my television set had a view of it.
Yep.
I know your people up in the booth had a view of it. And now you have to sit down and write a letter to that team coach and say, I'm sorry, we missed it. Why not? Why not use the technology? Let's talk Army-Navy real quick. Had a great experience this morning called a recycled ride. We gave away 2 cars this morning on the National Mall. A young man from the Army, another young man from the Navy. And I gave the one to the Army, to the Navy guy. Robert Friffen gave one to the Army. And USAA has just been unbelievable as a sponsor. Over 100 years. This is the 125th game, Army-Navy game, second year here in Washington, D.C. So I get in the car with Matthew Walker's his name, young Navy guy. And he sits down. His last car was a 1998 Civic.
Wow.
So he's got the keys, the square keys. And he's got the keys in his hand. I said, so start her up. And he looks at the steering column, and he's trying to figure out where this big where this big thing fits in. He'd never been in a car, really hadn't ridden. I mean, he never really started a car that didn't have a key in it.
You just push the button.
And it was like I said, this made the entire weekend for me, just to see the smile on his face. You know what he said? Cool.
That is very, very cool. Cool to hang out with a legend. You go now in today's world, Redskins or Commanders, or did you say Washington?
Well, I call them the Commanders because that's due respect for what they are, but I was a Redskin. I never was sad. I never was happy with the Washington football team. I felt like we were going to play like Manchester U in the Premier League or something like that. But that wasn't one I was favored with.
Yeah. Washington Redskins legendary quarterback Joe Theismann. There are some fans watching on YouTube right now in San Antonio that listen to a lot of Cowboy talk, so they appreciated having you on. We appreciate it.
Different view from somebody on the other side of the fence.
Absolutely.
Guys,
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your Army-Navy
Happy
weekend.
holidays, everybody. Yeah. Listen, everybody out there, watch the game. It's America's game. It's our young men and young women and the young men that will be leaders in this country and all those that are in uniform. Thank you for the sacrifices that you make for us to allow us to be able to do the things we do. God bless you.
Appreciate it. Joe Theismann here on the Blitz. We'll even things out. We're going to talk some Cowboys football coming up here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Morning Huddle.
I'm shooting a herd sheep. Rob went up and petted this goat.
It wasn't
and then
quite
shot
like
it in the
that.
head with a pistol.
It wasn't quite like that. It wasn't like he was tied to a tree. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't
He's like, hold on, let me take his collar off. Boom!
Mind the fur. He's going to be a pillow.
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-600-9595. 800-600-9595. 800-600-9595.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
George gets justice. When you've been injured, you need to get George Salinas Injury Lawyers because you need someone who understands your pain and the impact an accident has on your life. You need someone who listens and is always there fighting for you and your future. When you get George Salinas Injury Lawyers, you get all this and more. If you've been injured, it's time to get George. And remember, you won't pay anything unless they win your case. Call George Salinas at 210-225-0909. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text FORCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text FORCE to 42424. That's FORCE to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
If you haven't started celebrating Pixmas, you haven't started celebrating. Start today on Prize Picks because it's Pixmas time, and man, oh man, it's time for a shot at 1,000 times your cash. That's right, you got a shot for 1,000 times your cash. You can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Merry Pixmas! Head over to Prize Picks, use what you know, and win up to 1,000 times your cash. I can't say it enough. That's Prize Picks. Head over today, pick your favorites. Before you know it, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's so easy to play. You've been a fantasy player for years. Now put it to use. Prize Picks puts your knowledge to work. Just a couple of clicks away, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Remember that code ALAMO for free money. That's Prize Picks. Head over today, join the millions, download the app, and win up to 1,000 times your money. Easy to do. Download the app today and use the code ALAMO. Prize Picks. Run your game.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Army-Navy Media Row presented by USAA is where we are right now in Washington, D.C. In game tomorrow on television, on radio. You can listen to it here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, brought to you by the Break Room Bar and Ewald Kubota. And it's incredible where we are right now for Radio Row. The Military Women's National Memorial is incredible at Arlington National Cemetery, and how Radio Row things go. Ron Rivera could just, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it happen live. He could sit down any minute now. Was going to be a little bit later, but schedules adjust. So Ron Rivera, his name is going to be in that Cowboys coaching search.
You think so?
It will be in it.
I just want to know if he's even interested in that job.
We're going to do the pre-interview for
We
Jerry
are, absolutely.
coming up at any moment now. We'll check qualifications and, see if he gets passed on to Jerry. Although, as a coordinator, I mean, you wonder.
Yeah, defensive coordinator.
I mean, look.
Now, that would be good.
All the talk positively about Mike McCarthy the last couple of weeks changes if they lose to Carolina. The Carolina Panthers haven't been favored to win a football game in 2 years, yet they are Sunday favored by about 3 over the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cowboys lose that game, and the Mike McCarthy's got to go talk gets louder and louder.
Well, he may not even get back on the team playing.
Well, he will.
Are you kidding me?
Jerry's not going to pay him not to work.
You lose to Carolina. That is grounds to be fired immediately. He might not make it out of the halftime locker room if they're behind.
I mean, he even said this morning on the morning huddle, as he is on every Friday, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. One of the reasons that Carolina's favorite is because of how well Bryce Young is playing.
Oh, I just think he's in rhythm. He has confidence, and there's definitely flow in the offense. They're running the ball, number one. They're running the ball very well. Hubbard's just outstanding, and their offensive line has really come together. They had some, new players there, and you could see that they're a salty bunch. So it starts with the run with them, and I think Bryce is doing a really good job of extending plays too. That's probably the biggest change I see from last year to this year.
I think sitting him down for the games that he sat down did him a world of favor. Took a lot of pressure off of him, I think, and the guy's talented. Everybody wants to call this kid a bust, and the 2 games that he sat down, I think, helped him tremendously, and he is playing some good football. But the rest of the team is playing better football too, and obviously for a quarterback, it makes a hell of a difference.
Well, and obviously for the Cowboys, I mean, I don't know. Mike McCarthy's normally in the office, but just listening to that soundbite, it kind of sounds like he's laying in bed. Oh, yeah, I got to make this call to the boys in San Antonio. He sounded a little deflated. Is the team, after that loss to Cincinnati on Monday night, that effectively ends their playoff hopes? Although mathematically there's still a chance, but there's no chance for the Cowboys. What's the mindset of his team? Are they deflated?
No, they've been locked in this week, so far. I mean, but it's
Friday.
It's a 6-day week, work schedule. So your Wednesday's a jog through, and yesterday was a shell practice. So, but we've hit the target. I felt good coming off the practice field both days. But yeah, it's definitely a punch in the gut. Though we obviously know what the score is as far as our record and what's going on around us. So it was definitely a game we had to win. So we're up against it, and really the only thing we can worry about is taking care of Carolina, and that's what we got to get done.
They had the game. It was theirs. It was won. All you got to do is get away from that football. Guess what? Brandon Aubrey kicks a field goal. Cowboys walk out of their winners. Instead, typical Cowboy fashion, this year anyway.
It's the 2024 Dallas Cowboys in a nutshell.
My gosh.
Now, there are some positives over the last couple of weeks for the Cowboys, and that is the running of Rico Dowdle. And I don't know if Rico is running his way into, hey, he could be a running back one, and, that's one less off the we need to fix list for the Cowboys front office in the offseason. But Mike McCarthy this morning on the Morning Huddle did talk a lot about Rico and that run game improvement we've seen as of late.
Definitely. I think it's both those things. It's so important to be able to stay engaged, early, even if you do get behind. We had games earlier in the year where we were behind 3 scores and things like that, and you got to make a decision. And whether you go to a 2-minute open offense or you stay the course and try to grind it out and win it on the last play. So I think just the fact that, as you've already stated, to stay on time has been very important, but you got to give the credit to the players. I mean, it starts up front with the O-line. I think those guys are doing an exceptional job communicating, especially with the changes that we've had there week in and week out. And they're playing fast, they're playing physical, and they're just giving Rico and our running backs clean looks. And and his run style is exactly what you're looking for, because just the way he attacks the defense. So I think it's all those things you stated.
And Rico is running well. Again, I want to see him run against a decent football team. Cincinnati's defense is terrible. They played the Giants before that, both terrible. I mean, let's get a decent team. They'll have some of those coming up, and we'll see how Rico does. No doubt, I'm happy for the guy.
He ran well against Washington, although Joe Theismann just told us 10 minutes ago they were lucky in that one.
Exactly, they weren't they?
No. In Washington, and they kicked their ass.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah. Look, this team's got a long way to go, and a lot of changes still to be made, whether that's Mike McCarthy leaving by way of being fired or not renewed, or him leaving on his own. So a lot to be done. You heard Joe Theismann, speaking of him, talking about Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder how Dak's going to come back. I think, look, that ankle injury, I don't think this is lost on anybody. Hurt his ability to scramble and run. And that's why I think is a big reason why he's not doing that anymore. Now you've got another leg injury. And how does that affect his ability to be mobile in the pocket and run with the football? So there's a lot of things to be ironed out over the offseason for the Cowboys.
Well, and again, it's funny because playoff hopes are essentially gone. And I think we all know that. How do they fix it? You go back to what Stephen Jones was telling us yesterday. They're going to be financially strapped again next year, the way things are set up. And I think that is total BS, because if they take care of Micah Parsons early, then that would free up some money. Then he tried to tell us, that's media trying to create urgency and sign them early to free up money. That's not the real work. It's big business deals.
Yeah, I mean, we those contracts, and everybody has a take. Hey, could you do them earlier? Could you do them later? Why did you wait? Why did you not get? Those are all in the that's in the media. At the end of the day, it's big business. Micah's got good people looking out for his business, and we're certainly from a business standpoint having to see how all that fits. But I mean, all you got to do is watch the game since Mike has been back and see what a difference he makes. And we're all in for trying to get him signed. That's what we've said from day one. We want to get Dak. We want to get CD. We want to get Micah signed. And, that's our goal, because Micah's, one of the, handful of difference makers in this league on defense that can really change a game.
And could get you a lot of draft picks in return for a trade to the Washington Commanders.
Why Washington?
Well, I mean, Joe Theismann talking about it. I'm just saying,
I mean, but he's a Pennsylvania guy.
He likes Dan Quinn.
He does like Dan Quinn. He likes Pennsylvania too. He likes money, but he loves Jerry. Jerry's his guy. That's what he said the other night.
Sure. Well, that's great. Jerry's his guy, but whoever owns the Commanders now could be his guy too if he paid him. Look, I just think that, to me, is the easiest way to get this team back on track. I know nobody wants to lose Micah Parsons, and most likely that's not going to happen. But I could see that being almost a Herschel Walker type of trade. You get some big draft picks in here, maybe a player or two, and off and running.
No. They're gonna sign him.
Of course they are.
They're gonna sign. But do they sign him early, or do they make him wait, hold out at training camp? All the kind of things that we typically see from the Dallas Cowboys, who, Forbes list yesterday, number one, $10.1 billion. It's funny because Stephen Jones told us they don't really celebrate that, but Rob Thompson did ask Mike McCarthy this morning, do they get a bonus for that?
Coach, I saw yesterday that the Cowboys are now worth what 10.1 billion, something like that. The Forbes numbers come back in. Do the employees get a little bump for that? Little bonus, little scratch? I mean, the company does well. The employees do too. Does Jerry treat y'all like that?
I tell you, I mean, I know, I'm sure the fans enjoy your sense of humor, Rob.
Coach,
I'm focused on being Carolina. That'll be the best thing we all can do.
I understand, Coach.
Absolutely. And as Mike McCarthy this morning, as he is every Friday on, you go ahead and sit, Mr. Rivera, Ron Rivera, joining us now on the Blitz Live. If you're watching on YouTube, he's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Linux. We're the South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys in San Antonio.
All right.
Last time we saw you was Super Bowl Radio Row. You were doing all kinds of stuff with USAA.
Yep.
Your name's going to come up with the if Mike McCarthy's not the job. Loses, you know how that's going to
yeah,
go.
that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, your thoughts on this Cowboys team? Let's start there.
Well, yeah, they're a talented football team. They really are, and for whatever reason, they've struggled this year. I think injuries have had some things to do with it. And then sometimes it's just you get into these funks, certain things happen, situations. It doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to work out. It's crazy how it is. But, injuries have played a big factor in this season for the most part.
They really have. But I got to go back to the coaching thing. Is that something you are interested in? Not in Cowboys or somebody else?
Yeah, for
you
me,
want to get back in?
I do. I do want to get back in. It's been interesting because when I first, got let go this past season, what I did was I got away from football for about 6 months. I did as little as I could, little involved. Once the Super Bowl was done, I was as little involved as I'd ever been, and I just stayed away from it. I was supposed to go to some mini camps. I was supposed to go to some training camps, and I decided not to. What I did was I just watched TV, played golf, went on vacation with my wife. I did some things that I'd never had time to do. My wife and I took a vacation for the first time in 36 years in February, and we went out of the country. Okay. For 36 years, I stayed in country because, OTAs, not OTAs, the combine was coming up. I had to get prepared for that, watch tape, get all the pre-stuff done. I couldn't do anything. This February, my wife says, we're going, let's go. Well, she'd been dying to do this. A group of her girlfriends, and their husbands would go to the Dominican Republic, Casa de Campo, and they would play golf. And my wife's an avid golfer. She's like a 5-6 handicap.
Wow.
Whatever. And so, but she's never been able to do it. So as soon as it happened, we were going. So Super Bowl's over, we go. And from that point on, for 6.5, 7 months, I paid no attention to football. But I was going to do some television for the NFL Network, and I was going to do radio for Westwood One and Sports USA, covering the games. In fact, I flew in from last night. I had the Rams and Niners game last night, and on Sunday I had the Rams and the Bills game. So I've been covering it all. And as I started getting back into it, I started getting that itch again. And then all of a sudden I realized, man, I'm looking at this game from a whole different perspective right now. I'm seeing trends. I'm seeing styles. I'm seeing techniques. I mean, I'm looking at things a whole different way. And all of a sudden, it's like a couple things came to me. I just thought, some of the things that I did very well. And I know I can do other things better. That's some of the conclusions I was drawing. And I thought, wow, so now I really want to get back in if the opportunity's there and it's the right opportunity, because I do know there are some things that I will get better at, and there are some things that I'm really good at. We're going to be even better.
Ron Rivera joining us here on the Blitz 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Are you going to look at head coaching only opportunities, or defensive coordinator, or head coach, or does it depend on the opportunity?
It really does depend on the opportunity, because there's so many roles that I could fill personally. I could do a head coaching, I could do assistant head coaching, I could do coordinator. Okay, But when you look at the game, from a different view, there aren't very many Andy Reids, okay, or Bill Belichick's that can do both and have that success of running the team and being the primary play caller, because so much goes into that. And after going through what I went through in Washington, the truth of the matter is the only thing I want to do is coach. I just want to coach. I don't want to have to manage the outside stuff. I don't want to have to manage this part of the organization. I just want to coach the football team. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Ron, when you look at it, a defensive guy, the defense now is at such a disadvantage as far as I'm concerned with the rules that are put in place. How in the world do you get around that?
Well, you've got to make sure your players understand what the rules are, first and foremost. When I first got in the league as a head coach, first thing I did, and my wife will attest, I read the entire rule book. I read it. And then every year I would read certain elements of it that I knew that the league was working on. Holding, pass interference were a couple of things that I would always pay attention to. And I tried to make sure our guys understood it. There was a point in time where for several years in a row, we were one of the least penalized teams because our guys understood what the rules were and what the referees were looking at. Now, it's really important that you get the referees to come to your training camp, sit down with them, make sure your players sit down with them, ask questions, and find out what's going on. That's how you stay ahead of it. If you don't do those things, if you don't get them into camp and you don't use them and have them watch tape with your players and have your players say, hey, why would you call that a penalty? Well, what you really look at, you never make a motion to see the ball. That's why you interfere. So you learn, you can make sure your players get taught. And as they get taught, now all of a sudden they're playing at a different pace and a different tempo and a different understanding. And certain things they can get done and taken care of. The rules are really being changed for a couple of reasons. The first one is always going to be about player safety. It really is. I was on the competition committee for all those years, and we always talked about player safety. And the other one is to make it fair and equitable. And by that I mean is certain things are happening in the game. If you do something that creates an unfair advantage, they're going to throw the flag. Okay. If you and I are both struggling, it's on the same thing. They're not going to throw a flag because it's there. But as soon as they see this hand go to the back or this hand go to the side and pull and tug, that's when the flags come out. All this other stuff, this hand fighting that they call it, that's not going to create a penalty anymore.
Interesting.
Ron Rivera joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Now that you're doing radio and doing some television work, you do look at the game a little bit differently, yes. But you've got a head coaching perspective that media types don't have because just your knowledge from being on the inside. So when you're evaluating players versus what you see other analysts that haven't been a head coach or coordinator, what do you see? And kind of staying with, our wheelhouse with the Cowboys, like, the defense this year not playing at the level it was under Dan Quinn. Mike Zimmer comes in, whole new system, a lot of injuries, and including a Micah Parsons who missed, a handful of games.
Well, and it's a different personality. But I know this, if you look at certain coaches, they won't change what they do. They want the player to be able to come in and fit into what he wants done and the way he wants it to be done on the field. And I think when you have that kind of mentality, you go through other guys and you say, well, he's not good enough. He doesn't fit. That's what you have to be careful of. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just saying when you look at guys, you've got to be able to say, this is how he fits, because you asked me how would I evaluate a guy. Well, if he doesn't fit this, well, then maybe he fits this, okay? I'm not going to have a guy do something he's not capable of. Mike Dick always used to say, way back in my day, was like, never ask you to do something that I couldn't do or I didn't do, okay? So I want to find out what you're capable of. And once I know what you're capable of, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play you to your strength, okay? We're going to try and create that opportunity to put you in the best position to be successful. As soon as I don't do that, it's going to show. Why? Because I'm going to ask you to do something you can't do. And if you can't do it, what's going to happen? We're going to get beat. Did I put you in the best position? No. There's no such thing as a bad call. There's always a better call. Just because I make that call doesn't make it bad. It means you got to go out and you got to perform. But if you don't perform to it, should I call it again? No. Again, I have to be on the right page with you as a player. If I know you're a better zone player than you are a man player, am I going to put you in a man coverage situation one-on-one without anybody over the top to help you? No. If I do anything, you're going to play man, I'm going to roll over the top. And if you're fortunate enough to have Deion Sanders, Deion, you're on your own, bud. But that's what you do. You find out how, in my opinion, what does he do best? What does he do best? You know, one of the things that I always felt that the Cowboys were really good at was running the football. There's a guy named Zeke when he was younger, running the football. Be special with that. Let him run the football. Find that guy and let it happen. Why? Because what's happening this year? I wish I'd brought my bag because one of the things I'm privy to now is I have a researcher that does stuff for me. So one of the things I have researching is right now, what are the biggest trends? What's the biggest trend going on the offensive side of football right now?
Well, you tell me.
They're running the football.
Running the football, and the Cowboys ignore the run game.
Well, if you're running the football, I'll show you this right now. 70% of the teams that are in the top 10, so that's 7 out of 10, are all in playoff contention right now, right? And they have one of the top rushing offenses in the league, okay? If you're one of the top rushing offenses in the league, your quarterback contributes to it, you're even better, okay? So that's part of the trend that's happening right now. So asking the quarterback every now and then, tuck that ball and run has been very, very profitable for a lot of these teams, and i.e. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, okay? Baltimore, Pittsburgh, their quarterbacks can tuck it and run, extend things, and look where they are right now. So again, I've got a whole new perspective now. I've got that 10,000 view. I'm up here on top looking down from the stadium, and I see all 22 players, and I see things differently now. And so I've gained a little bit of perspective now.
So if Jerry calls, would you take the call?
We'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge.
Right. When you do take a call, what's the first thing you look at? Who the owner is and who the quarterback is?
Absolutely. This is a quarterback-driven league. It really is. And the one thing everybody's got to understand, all these owners want to win, okay? What their involvement is to winning, you have to understand, and you either have to accept it, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to fight it. I was fortunate. My first owner, Jerry Richardson, he played the game. So his perspective was from an NFL player. And so when he and I would sit down, we talked at that level, okay? And then I've had businessmen who other partners that I worked with, and their perspective is different. Some are numbers driven. They want to see what the analytics say. And some of them are decision driven and want to be the ones controlling the decision. And so now it's what do you want? You know what I'm saying? What do you want? I'll do it how you want it done, but just understand it's what do you want?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Rivera here, Army Navy Radio Row, presented by USAA. I know you do so much with USAA. Yes. Incredible partnership that you guys have.
Well, what's amazing is, I grew up in the military. My dad was a career Army officer, 32 years. He served Vietnam twice, moved the family 7 times. We went everywhere from Heidelberg, Germany to Fort Gulick, Panama, to Fort Lewis, Washington, Fort Meade, Maryland. And then our home base was Fort Ord, California. My favorite trip, though, was Fort Gulick, Panama. We spent 3 years there at the beginning of my teen years. Phenomenal country, phenomenal people. Absolutely loved it. It was wonderful, and it was most certainly worth it. My father was a USAA member. He started in 1965, one of the oldest members they've ever had. And then he passed it on to me in 1986. So I've been a member of USAA for that long, and they've been gracious enough to allow me to be partnered with them. I actually won the Salute to Service Award that they sponsored for the NFL. And it's been a tremendous thing, and I've been very fortunate to have USA around.
Appreciate it. Ron Rivera, thanks for spending some time with us on the South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys.
We could have kept this going.
We could have.
She's over there. She's over there giving you the right signal. I mean, this was the pre-interview for Jerry. I mean, he just called us and said, guys, talk to him and tell us what you think.
I have a great true story about that someday. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Ron Rivera, you're on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. More coming up from Army Navy Radio Row here in Washington, D.C. And, you go on a trip like this and, you get your friends say, hey, guys, have fun. Just don't get thrown in jail. And, you kind of say that as a joke, but we do know people get arrested every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail, the best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747. or you can start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't want to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. If you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Riding I-10 with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
Listen to this message I received.
First message.
This is Santa Claus. Hey, I'm calling to give you a heads up. Last Christmas, so many people asked me for a Connecticut water softener, but getting all those Connecticut units in and out of the sleigh, up and down the chimneys, well, it's not so good on my back. So I'm going to forward all those Connecticut wish lists directly to you. Here's Mrs. Claus.
Thanks again for installing our Connecticut. I just love how soft my man's beard is, and my skin feels silky smooth, even here at the North Pole.
So if it's okay with you, I'll handle the toys, you handle the water softeners.
For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink. 0% interest for 12 months and $400 when you trade in your old water softener.
By the way, the elves just love your jingle.
Call 656 Pure Connecticut.
I'm not a fan of the gluten-free cookies. Bye-bye.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656 Pure Connecticut.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score a free medium 2-topping Domino's pizza with minimum purchase, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on burgers, tacos, wings, and more, all season long. Order Uber Eats now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Kyle Tucker traded to the Cubs. In return, the Astros are getting a package of infielder Isaac Paredes, third base prospect Cam Smith, and right-handed pitcher Hayden Wesneski, a Cy Young graduate.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Army Navy Radio Row presented by USAA. We're coming to you live from the Military Women's Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery.
JC, where we were screwing around there talking to Jimmy, Pledge had to do Sports Center.
Pledge did Sports Center?
He did Sports Center.
What the hell?
How about that? Did a hell of a job.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
Did you hear it?
Well, I heard the last sentence.
Oh.
And it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The last sentence.
The last sentence.
Was what?
Yeah.
I'm James Pledger?
Yes. It was fantastic. He just sang. It was like, I'm James Pledger.
Well, he didn't tell us we were back.
Well, we didn't have our headphones on.
Well, we got, you know. He didn't have it. Yeah, no, we're screwing around. We're having fun.
We're having a good time.
Yeah,
it's Friday, for goodness sake.
It is Friday.
We're in D.C.
We're in D.C. It's 9 degrees inside this building. All of a sudden, it has gotten extremely cold in here.
Damn sure has. And these headphones are falling all over the place. What's going on here? It's all good. Thank you, Pledge, for handling that, by the way.
No problem.
What did he do?
He did Sports Center.
Why?
Because I wasn't ready for it. That's why.
Ball?
I did. I dropped the ball completely. I fumbled and Pledge recovered. How about that?
Man.
That's what we do here. We're a team.
Doing it live.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely. I might fumble again at 4, Pledge.
I mean, let's be really honest. So, we're talking to Ron Rivera. And then, his handler's telling him, because he's got another interview that he's going to do.
Yeah.
And then, we go to commercial break, and Joe's got to run down the hall, but he doesn't have enough time. And then we start talking to people.
Yeah.
And so now Joe's really got to pee, and we're about to do one of the longest segments. We're just going to make this segment extremely long.
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I'm in good shape. I just thought, I'd take care of business when I had the chance to take care of business. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But that's fine. It just shows that we're very popular here on Media Row. I mean, people coming up here all the time, talking to us, asking questions, doing all this stuff. And Ron didn't want to leave. Joe Theismann didn't want to leave.
No.
I'm telling you.
No. And coming up in about 30 minutes, Tim Pernetti is going to join us. He is the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. Now, I don't know him. You don't know him. When he first got the job, he was on the Blitz over the phone. But, in this building where we are, and before the show started, we talked with him some. He's becoming our new bestie.
No doubt.
Because every time he walks by, he's got something else to say.
He does.
In a good way about this or about that. He is a big, big fan of Jeff Traylor. A big fan of Jeff Traylor, which is very, very cool.
I can't wait to talk to him. There's so many questions that I have for him with the AAC. And you're more than welcome to sit down again if you'd like. I mean, that's fine. It's Joe Theismann.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
All right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Encore presentation.
Absolutely.
Joe Theismann.
I mean, see, you were getting the rap signal earlier, and you went and did another interview. But you know where the fun is at, and it's in San Antonio. He's back.
What else we want to? What other problems do we want to solve?
We just, on behalf of Jerry Jones, did a pre-interview for the head coaching job if it were to come open with Ron Rivera. When you think about Ron Rivera, and he told us he wants to get back into coaching.
Yes.
And you look at what the Cowboys are doing right now. He brought up that very few can be like Andy Reid, a head coach and a play caller.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy is doing that now.
Mike didn't do it, but then he took the job back, right?
Yes.
And Mike did it in Green Bay.
Yeah. And
then he let it go there too for a little bit, and then took it back.
Yeah. Last year, the offense was rolling in his first season as a play caller with a healthy Dak. This year, early, it was struggling. Now, granted, no run game to speak of, offensive line issues. But are you a fan of a head coach that are
no offensive line? Your quarterback's gone. You have no running game. Hey, Mike, go generate some points. You answer. I mean, it's this game. It's a player's game. If you don't have players, I don't care how good a scheme you have. I don't care how creative you want to be. Look, Andy's he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs this year. They're 11-1. 5 games. They probably shouldn't have won.
Sure.
And then everybody'd be, Andy's just the offense. And the offense isn't generating a whole lot. How much offense is Kansas City's offense generating? In Mike's case down there, I think that the expectations, you go through 12 game winning seasons. All of a sudden, the expectation is high.
Yep.
But nobody wants to listen. It isn't just Cowboy fans. Nobody, I don't care what team you have, nobody wants to listen to the fact that if I don't have the pieces to be able to play the chess game with, I can't play the chess game. And he doesn't have the pieces to do it. I don't believe, listen, I'm glad Dak got his money. I'm happy for any player that gets anything. But why would Jerry pay somebody that much money? He still had a year left on the contract, right?
No, he was
this year. Yes.
He could have played it out and become a free agent.
He could have played it out and become a free agent. Okay, how much more money would it have cost Jerry to re-sign him if he becomes a free agent? You do the same thing that Steve Bisciotti did in Baltimore. Dak, you're 31 years old. Go ahead, shop your services. How much is somebody going to pay for what would be a 32-year-old quarterback at the end of his career? And maybe, and if Dak was healthy and they wound up and they won the Super Bowl, give him $70 million. But to me, I didn't quite understand with him becoming a free agent, not giving him a chance to go out and play. And if you have to match a number, I mean, nobody was going to match the number that they were going to give Lamar. Not only that, you can tag him.
Well, you can't tag Dak. He had to know.
Well, that's great. But then you could market it. He could market as a free agent. But then you would have a right to match whatever number was out there.
Well, when I look at the Cowboys,
I think. Hey, listen, Jerry made the decision he made, but I stepped back and I thought, from an age standpoint, of course, nobody ever knew, that the team would have as many injuries as they had. Zach Martin gone. I mean, you have pieces that are gone from that offense that make it difficult to operate. But I sort of looked at it. I wondered, from an economic standpoint, to commit that kind of money, because you got Micah sitting out there. What are you going to do now? Where do the dollars come under the cap now for Parsons? So, I mean, you've got, CD is certainly worth it. I think, like I said, it's not that Dak wasn't worth the money. I just thought that you weren't forced into the situation to have to do it. We saw Joe Flacco play his contract out and win a Super Bowl going back. So, what do you think?
Well, I said all offseason he was going to get a deal.
Yeah.
And he's going to become the highest paid. He was second in MVP voting. And part of that, the reason was, I'm a fan of Dak, but I was a big fan of Tony Romo. If you were going to replace Dak, or you had somebody ready to take over for Dak, I'd have gotten rid of him in a heartbeat. But the Cowboys front office failed to have a plan B.
Yeah,
and Jerry, at his age, isn't going to let him walk in free agency, because maybe the Raiders sign him or something, and then you're starting over with either a rookie quarterback or hoping you can find a Baker Mayfield or a Sam Darnold to bridge the gap. I'm mad at Jerry for not having a quarterback ready to go.
Well, there's the two sides of that. If you let him play his contract out, you have to think to yourself, how many suitors are going to pay, again, $60 million over a 4-year period for a 32-year-old quarterback? It's not like he's 26. It's not like, you're looking at, this is the second of maybe 2 contracts. And that's the situation I looked. Like I said, I'm thrilled he got the money. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for anybody that can get anything they can get as far as be in a position to be able to do it. Felt the same way about Lamar. I was thrilled to see what Lamar get the contract he got. You look at Trevor. You look at these numbers these young guys are getting. Good for them. I'm not one of these guys that played the game and said, you know what, we were the foundation of the game, and these kids are getting all this money. No, man, get it. Go get it. I'm just looking at it from a business perspective. I'm thinking, well, there's age to be considered, the economics. How much more is it really going to cost me? I mean, if he goes, would somebody pay him? If Dak went to the free agent market after this year, let's say they had a really terrific year, he goes to the free agent market. Somebody going to pay him $70 million? I don't know if that's a feasible number, because it really destroys the cap. So, that's the sort of the business heads trying to think through the whole thing. Jerry obviously is, made the decision, and, unfortunately, Trevor's hurt. He's out. Dak's, been hurt. He's gone. We lose 4 or 5 quarterbacks a year, it seems like, for periods of time. Kirk Cousins a year ago, Aaron Rodgers a year ago, early on, and guys.
And look at what those guys are getting paid. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
The number, 1984, put this in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
1984, the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League was Warren Moon at $1.4 million a year. 1984. Joe Theismann was the 4th highest paid player in the National Football League at $1 million a year.
Wow.
Now, I look at what these guys are getting today. You take into consideration, they're getting twice as much per game as we got for an entire year. Don't care. But that's the way the game has grown. That's the love of the game of football. There will always be football fans for 3 reasons. Number one, you have the rabid fans. They love the game. They love their football team. Number two, you've got gaming. Number 3, you have fantasy football. But gaming will be the driving force. Why do you think all these stadiums are equipping themselves with the Wi-Fi and their systems now? So what's going to happen is we're going to sit. You do it now.
Well, we can't in Texas because our lawmakers
not yet.
aren't
Not
yet.
Not
Yet
yet.
being the key
But
word.
we sit at a game and say, okay, I think they're going to run the ball. Give me 5 on a run.
That's great.
And you know who gets a piece of that? Jared.
Yeah.
And all the owners do. But I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's they've created this situation that is so hard. And with gaming opening up in so many places, the amounts of money that are being made, to pay like the Commanders $6.2 billion for a team. The Cowboys are worth double digits.
10.1. We just
At
found
least,
out.
at least 10 point. I mean, that's there were, and that'll go up. That will go up. What I'm curious about is when will the number be a number where, say, just one group is not going to get it? When does it become corporate ownership? The Coca-Cola Cowboys, or the
Are there Wawa stores up here?
yeah. Well, no, they're in Pennsylvania a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wawa Washington.
Wawa Commanders.
That's right, the Wawa Commanders. There's always things. I love this game so much, and I love to study it from a player's perspective. I love to study it from a coaching perspective when I watch games, and I like to think of it from an ownership perspective. And how do you manage? Because how do you manage a team as an owner? Because football is unique. It's not like any other business. I don't believe it's like any other business. And there's a unique nature, and there's people who do a good job managing it. There's other people that have to figure out and struggle sometimes figuring it out, and it takes time. But Jerry's been a friend for years. He's an incredible. Always enjoyed visiting with him. Always enjoyed when I was broadcasting. We'd go into to visit and sit down with him, and it's always been cordial, always been wonderful. And I just think he's got a situation where age is going to become an issue for his football team. Age and health. Who's healthy, and where can you find the pieces? I know free agency provides you with an opportunity to find pieces, but sometimes you have to have the cash register to be able to go get it, especially, like I said, the numbers of these free agents now, wide receivers at $35 million.
Unfortunately, the Cowboys don't like the free agent market too much. It's that draft and develop thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about Jerry? Because we listen to Cowboy fans all the time. So Jerry needs to get out of the GM business. What do you think about that?
It's Jerry's football team.
Well, sure.
I think he's it's like, if I own the bike, why can't I buy the horn? I want this little I want this little horn. I want this little horn up here. You don't think I should buy this horn? I don't care. I'm going to buy that horn. I think that I think what scares some people from joining the Cowboys is that Jerry will control everything, and that if you're in the trenches as a coach, and Jerry is the general manager, how much control will you have over the things that you feel like might help this football team be even better? And that's his prerogative, because it is his football team. I think Stephen, has been great counsel for him. But I think that, it's been years, why is Jerry the general manager? Because he wants to. And you wouldn't have this conversation after the last 3 years where they go 12-1, even though, a lot of teams hadn't done well in playoffs. But, for the last 3 years, they win a lot of football games. Jerry's still a general manager. Now, all of a sudden, they've lost people. You're down people. And like I said, this is a people business. And now all of a sudden, we got to get rid of Jerry. Our business is it's knee-jerk reactions all the time. Everybody wants to make a quick decision. And, this Sam Darnold, classic example. Jets. Oh, my God, the guy's horrible. Jeez, goes to Carolina. Oh, why the heck did we make this deal? Goes to Minnesota. Pro Bowler.
Playing great.
Yeah,
Pro Bowler.
and he's going to work that into a big
And
contract.
Minnesota. You want to talk about So you would think about a sleeper, even though you can't gamble in Texas. I want to tell you something.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We find a way, Joe.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We find a way.
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings, look at them as a sleeper for the Super Bowl. Everybody has Detroit. Everybody's got Detroit penciled in. Don't kick Kevin out in that group he's got. Coach Flores, I think he's done a terrific job as a coordinator. Everywhere he's been, defense has been tough to deal with. And he's not afraid to bring the house, man. He's got ice water in his veins. He's just, I'm coming. You just figure out how to block it.
Joe
I really love
Theismann, legend here on the Blitz for the second time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Round 2.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get round 3 in a little while. I don't know how long you're sticking around, but we do have to pay some bills, and the commissioner, this guy here, is ready to go.
He's having a good time.
Yeah, for some reason, it got cold in this building. He wants
it is
to get
actually,
out of here.
you know what? It has gotten cold. Well, on that note, guys, appreciate
it.
Take care of yourself.
Awesome. Joe Theismann.
Joe, thank you.
Round 3, random. We never know. It could happen. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Joe Theismann. Here on the Blitz on 94.1. San Antonio Sports. What's that? Well, I'm cold. It's cold. I'm
wear
from
gloves.
Texas. Where I'm inside. I don't need gloves. Yeah. Oh, the great Joe Theismann here on the Blitz. You never know what's going to happen. We do have Tom Pernetti coming up in about 15 minutes, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. Coming up here from Army-Navy Radio Row. When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available to you for both residential and commercial needs. I've used Hill Electric at my house for a variety of projects through the years. They do fantastic work and have for over 3 decades. The family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. And whatever your project is, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, never a service charge, and always free estimates. So it costs you absolutely nothing to figure out what it will take to get a project done. Call Hill Electric, 210-404-9074, 404-9074, or hill-electric.com.
It's showtime. Let's do it. It's fun time. Here we go.
South Texas home of the 12-team college football playoff. It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. All of the matchups are brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Break Room Bar. You like that? Hear every game on South Texas' first and only FM sports station. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's time to huddle up and listen close. For 2024, we pay tribute to a true game changer in the world of snacks, the unrivaled, the unbeatable, the pork rind. Yes, it's crunch time, and we're not just talking about the last few nail-biting minutes of the game. We're talking about a snack so audaciously crunchy, it puts those pretentious chips and pretzels to shame. So here's to you, Southern Recipe Pork Rinds, for being more than just a crunch. Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. It's crunch time. Find your rind at H-E-B.
Visit Boot Barn this week to save on top quality holiday gifts.
We're offering holiday specials right now where you can get $50 off select men's exotic boots, 25% off select outerwear, Western shirts, flannels, and jeans. We're also offering savings on select workwear and children's Western wear. Visit us this week and save on top quality holiday gifts. Boot Barn, unwrap the West.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1, San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Army Navy Radio Row presented by USAA as we're coming to you live from the Military Women's Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery. The commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, Tim Pernetti, will join us coming up in just a couple of minutes. But
I don't know what these are.
Yeah, I don't. Well,
they're delicious.
They're pretzels.
Yeah,
Joe.
they're covered with
chocolate.
icing.
Yeah,
they're delicious. Whatever they are,
it's a pretzel.
Yeah, it's good. Though.
It's a pretzel.
That's good. So Joe Theismann, that's pretty cool. He sits down again, and I just sat back because he made my case about Dak Prescott better than I ever could.
I mean, sure.
And he's absolutely right.
I mean, but it's the same conversation I think that we've all had. And now you're rehashing it, partly because the season has gone south and Dak got hurt. And Steven has told us enough times on the Blitz, Dak could become a free agent. Somebody would have paid him.
I don't know, Jason.
Kirk Cousins got paid. Aaron Rodgers has a gig.
Well, perhaps
somebody would have paid him.
Well, then it's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, but then what would the Cowboys have done at quarterback?
Well, I don't know. Look what Minnesota did. Look what Tampa Bay did. There's guys out there. It doesn't matter because it's a done deal.
But I mean, but not having that guy is the only reason why I thought Jerry would do what he actually ultimately did. And the number is what the number is because he's next, which is a dumb rule. But when you're next, you get paid.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because I don't know who's next. But I guarantee you Sam Darnold's not going to make 61 or 60 million plus.
He's not considered a top 10 quarterback. But if he's Joe Theismann.
But he's next. That's what you're saying. It doesn't matter whether he's a top 10 quarterback. You're saying he's next. So it's whoever is next is get paid next.
If you're a franchise quarterback, yes.
Well, he will be. Somebody's going to get Sam Darnold if Minnesota doesn't keep him. And they might. Even though they've got a young guy there. But he has played well enough. He should be in MVP conversations. I don't think he'd win it, but he should be mentioned as an MVP candidate.
Comeback player of the year. We can put him in that category.
However you want to come, it doesn't matter. He has resurrected his career, and he's playing well. So he's next. He's going to get paid. So by your logic, then he should get paid more than Dak Prescott. Or who's next? Brock Purdy's next.
Yeah.
He should get paid more than Dak Prescott.
He should.
Well, he's not going to, though.
Well,
that's the point.
You say that. I mean, we didn't think Trevor was going to get that or Tua. Was Tua going to get that? You look at when – now, the difference between like Trevor and Tua, that's their first big contract. This is Dak's second big contract. But when you look at the elite quarterbacks, if you're next or any position, Micah Parsons, he's going to reset the defensive market. Wide receiver, that market is going to get reset because when you're at that level and you're up, it's your time, whether you've
we can debate whether Dak Prescott's an elite quarterback or not. I don't think that he is.
I mean, he was second in MVP voting when he signed the contract.
My goodness, that is the top of his resume. Second, so, dude, that Cowboys hitch their wagon to him. They're stuck with him.
Yeah, stuck with him.
They are stuck with him, and they're going to have to live with the consequences. And I'll be honest with you, 2 major leg injuries. I want to see how Dak Prescott comes. There is no guarantee this man comes back anywhere near the way he left.
True. And one of the things that Joe Theismann talked about, you got a weakness in one area, other areas overcompensate, and that was an issue. And I think we all certainly understand how that could work out. It's going to be interesting. Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, he will join us next here on the Blitz, live at Army-Navy Radio Row. You think about that game tomorrow, want a great place to go watch it? Go watch it at the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road. No better place to go watch any big game, any big event than the Roo Pub with those 3 massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around, and the food is fantastic. Get in there tonight for the Spurs game, football on Saturday, obviously the NFL on Sunday. And when you go into the Roo Pub, go hungry. The food is fantastic. They got the biggest and best wings in town, about 15 different burgers on the menu. Make it 16 now that they've added that new bison burger. You've never had a bison burger? Go try one at the Roo Pub. It is a game changer. Great salads, I'm told, the appetizers, and that kitchen is open late every day with a full menu available. So when needing a late-night meal, don't go to a drive-thru. Get into the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night. The best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland. We'll see you at the Roo.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Monday on the Morning Huddle, after the planes, trains, and automobiles from Washington, D.C., we'll look back on a Cowboy game. And we've got 2, not 1, but 2 terrible Monday Night Football games to preview. Party starts at 6. Don't miss it.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hi, I'm Manny Jr. from Rock's Discount Vitamins. If you're looking to build muscle, strength, and boost athletic performance, check out our huge selection of anabolic pro-hormones. These powerful supplements provide your body with essential nutrients for muscle growth, faster recovery, fat loss, and even improved bone health and libido. Visit one of our 12 San Antonio locations or go online at rocksdiscountvitamins.com to learn more. That's rocksdiscountvitamins.com. We thank God and you for your continued support. rocksdiscountvitamins.com.
When life changes fast, you need a lawyer who's been there. AJ here for the Hicks Law Firm. Attorney John Hicks offers unique experience as a veteran and first responder to give you a strategic, results-driven approach. Facing divorce, child custody battle, or a complex family dispute, the Hicks Law Firm offers flat-fee representation from beginning to end, so you know exactly what to expect with no surprises. Visit jhickslawfirm.com for a free consultation. That's jhickslawfirm.com, a local law firm with the national resources you need to win. The Hicks Law Firm.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Awesome Tickets is your personal ticket broker. Big games, big concerts, big events. Need tickets? Stay local and call Awesome Tickets. Stop paying all those crazy fees on ticket apps. Awesome Tickets has your tickets for all the sports, concerts, any city, any event. Avoid the ticket app fees. Since 1994, Awesome Tickets is local and veteran owned. You deserve Awesome Tickets. Call 210-226-5136 or online at awesometix.com. That's awesometix.com.
San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Pro Football Pick'em giveaway is back. Head to USASportsStar.com and pick the winners of each pro football game every week to earn points for each correct pick. Highest points each week wins a $25 gift card to Mellow Mushroom. Highest points overall scores $1,000 worth of tickets from A Awesome Tickets. Pick the winning ticket of every regular season game. Win the grand prize, $50,000. This is an Audience National contest across multiple markets. The 50K Pro Football Giveaway. Register and win at SASportsStar.com.
Welcome back to the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, along with Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix in Washington, D.C. for the Army-Navy Media Row. And Army-Navy, they're in the same conference now, but it's not a conference game. Let's talk about it. Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, joining us now. Last week, you were crowning your conference champion. It is Army. And then this week you have this non-conference game. And I'm so glad when they joined, you were able to keep this game separate and the tradition that it's always been.
Well, listen, Army-Navy, anybody that knows Army-Navy or has been to Army-Navy knows it's different. I have a lot of people that have asked me this week and said, have you been before? What's it like? And it's a hard question to answer until you actually experience it. But I actually think at a time like this, not only with what's going on around us socially, politically, otherwise, Army-Navy has a foundation of unity like no game in sport. And I'm talking about pro sport, world sport, global sport. Army-Navy's different. It'll be nice that it's not a conference game, so I can kind of try to relax, enjoy the game a little bit tomorrow. Usually I'm running around working all the time, but we did face the prospect of 2 of these games at some point during the year. But Army-Navy is special. It's exciting that these schools are both in the conference, that you have conference opponents competing together. You'll see American branding down there on the field as part of it. But it's just special and it's different. And I don't think it could be happening at a better time in our country.
Tim, you talk about working hard. I don't know how, as a conference commissioner, you get any sleep at night with the changes that have been made in college football and everything that's going on. But the American Conference, to me, is the best conference in the country that's not a Power 4 conference. You guys have done a tremendous job.
I like your style because I agree with that comment 1,000%. No, in all seriousness, everybody, and I said this in some of my comments, every commissioner has to come out at the end of the year and make a case for why one of their institutions should be in the playoff. And I took a stance on Army because I felt like at 11-1, having lost only the number 4 team in the country, they deserve to be in the conversation. But I stood on the merits. And I said something about the so-called hierarchy, which got some attention because I think people see a hierarchy. They see there's the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12. And then I think they see us and everybody else. And I'm okay with that. But you don't stay there because you feel like it. You have to accelerate your agenda and do more. And I lose sleep about a lot of things. When you're reporting to a board of presidents and you're managing athletic directors, and I've gotten tight with all of our football coaches, and I'm going to miss some of them because they were great people that lost their jobs. But you lose a lot of sleep just trying to sort, all right, what can I do on the business side and the commercial side to help generate more resources and revenue to help our institutions manage NIL and manage investment? The big narrative today, Joe, is, well, you're not going to revenue share in your league, right? Because you're not. Of course we're going to revenue share. We're going to make a minimum investment level in our conference. So everybody that's in the conference has to spend at least that level, which signals the marketplace that we continue to be different than everybody else that some people see as a peer group.
Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, joining us here on the Blitz. And boy, you put that one up on a tee for us. We have Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head coach. You probably know him, right?
Love that guy.
Right? So we actually had this conversation the other day that when revenue sharing starts and UTSA is UTSA. You look at Memphis and some of the NIL money that they have, and the balance when the revenue share starts, there has to be a minimum, but what's the average going to be? We know what the maximum is going to be, but I doubt most in the American will be able to do that. But how do you keep a competitive balance? Or as commissioner, if not that UTSA would be on the low end, but if they're on the low end, do you call Lisa Campos and say, you want to compete, you got to do more?
We've already had that discussion with coaches, presidents, and ADs. And the recommendation I made early on, which was widely accepted and supported, was let's stop talking about how we get to max revenue sharing. Let's talk about the number, the minimum everybody needs to invest in order for us to be competitive nationally. And as you look at it, we're doing all the work. Like, we're working with outside consultants on this. We had a meeting with ADs this week, took them all through the data. And the reality is we need to learn what the number is at each school. Like, how much NIL do we need in football to be successful nationally at our schools? We're going to set that as the minimum. And then if an institution wants to go above and beyond that and invest more, they have the capacity to do that, they should be able to do that. But this is not going to be like, hey, you're down here, you're up here. There's going to be a threshold that everybody has to be at a minimum. What you do above and beyond that is up to you, but it's going to be set in a way that gives everybody a chance to compete. Like, this is some process. If I showed you guys the data, like it's everybody's all over the place. But there is a path now that we know what everybody's already investing in to get to a number that makes sense. But Coach Traylor and I have exchanged a bunch of texts during the year. And what I love about Jeff is he's just a real guy. A lot of football coaches, I think, have gotten caught up in who they become in the media and personality. Jeff just loves to coach football. And what he's done there in a short period of time, we're just talking off the air about his home record is like 28-3 or something like that. I'm sure every coach in the conference is not going to want to play in San Antonio next year. But I don't think anybody played better in the second half of the season than UTSA. And had they not gotten off to a slow start, early on in our office, we're always talking about, hey, what do you think? There's a lot of people on the UTSA train, but he's got something special cooking there. And I think if the university continues to provide him resources to be able to put the right roster together, they're going to be successful in our conference.
Tim, let me ask you, because I think the revenue shares is a good thing and a step forward. The NIL, where do you see the future of it, though? Because when you look at it, I mean, still, I think there's got to be some sort of guardrails moving forward and to make this thing an even playing field for everybody. What do you think the future is for this?
I think you nailed it, Joe. I think we need some structure to it. And in the past, I think what the NCAA hasn't done a good job of is whenever they're under pressure to create a different kind of experience, it's like, let's cut something loose to kind of calm everybody down. NIL was kind of cut loose without a lot of guardrails and structure. So what can happen is happening. Kids are exposed. Like, they're not super educated on how the process works. They don't want to share or even cut off 10% for an agent or an advisor that can tell them, like, here's the contract you should sign. But most importantly is, could we get some support from the government so that every state doesn't have a different rule about NIL? Like in Missouri, I read that if you're going to a school in Missouri, you can start to earn NIL in high school the minute you commit to that school. So now legislators are trying to use it to create recruiting advantages. Like, it's just insane. But if there is something that is uniform across all the states, I think that's a really good start. The second part of it is, and we're starting to do this in our conference, is who can we work with or sign up to help us as third parties to manage and help student athletes negotiate contracts and understand what they're getting into, understand the tax implications to it. Like, there's so much more to it. Because right now it's coaches saying, hey, Joe, I got $100,000 if you come. You come, coach gets fired. They're like, I never got any money, right? So nobody understands that these are real business agreements that need structure. But I think it can start with every state having the same rule around how NIL is to be executed.
It's odd that we're asking for actual government input, but there does need to be, it needs to be the same in every state. And I would like to think every conference, or at least every like conference, so the competitive advantage isn't, so great for one and down on another. Ultimately, is there going to be a salary cap? This is looking more and more like the NFL or pro football? It's amateurism seems out the window at this point, but do you see a salary cap coming in that every school is going to have to deal with?
I think in some respects, the revenue sharing is already that.
Yeah.
I think that if you look at what some and conferences are doing this, sort of trying to figure out what their schools are doing. In our conference, multiple institutions have already hired people that are dedicated to cap management, the roster, and NIL. And I think that's actually really smart. And there are tons of people out there in the space. I talked to a guy at the NFF dinner the other night, the Football Foundation dinner. He's a former GM of 2 NFL teams and built rosters that won Super Bowls. And he's like, you think there's a spot for me in college? And I was like, we need like 150 of you. Because the reality is what Bill Belichick is already doing in North Carolina is he's building it in a way that manages more like a professional organization. And I think they'll also bring a professional attitude to it, where if they get leveraged by outsiders and kids, they're just going to move them aside. They're going to move on to the next, talented kid. So I think the revenue share is already a glimpse at what a salary cap could look like.
When you look at college football, and obviously for every university, that's the poster. I mean, it really is.
Sure.
And no disrespect to any of the sports, but that seems to be. Should it be set aside? Should it be different than, say, basketball, baseball, and so on and so forth?
I think college football, and people accept this now. Like initially, and I married a college lacrosse player, and my daughter's going to play college lacrosse. Everybody has their own point of view, but football is a necessary engine in the car to make all this other stuff possible. It just is. So if you take it out, then what? You're putting universities on the hook to try to figure out a completely new model to support all these other sports. And you know what's going to happen? What's already happening. They're investing in revenue sports, and Olympic sports kids are losing their spots. They're losing their funding. And that is wrong, because collegiate athletics was founded on education through sport, like an opportunity through a sport to get an education. That's wrong. So I think if college football becomes a new enterprise in the future, the most important thing is, and you've seen some of these proposals that are out there, that it moves forward as one enterprise. It can't be these conferences went that way, these conferences went that way. The product is not American football, SEC football, the product is college football. Put it at the center, look at what is done for our industry, and let's figure out a way to maximize its value. And I can tell you all this, we're not maximizing it. These deals look huge. The NBA's ratings are way below college football. Their media rights deals, I don't even know the multiple, how much more they are. Why? Because they brought everything into a one-seller marketplace. We have a multi-seller marketplace, right, which is watering down the value. I don't know if that can ever happen or not, but it needs to be discussed. Change in general, guys. People don't want to talk about change in college. Change has to be discussed.
Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, joining us here on the Blitz. Now, we did have a change in college football this year with the expanded playoff.
Yep.
Off-season in San Antonio, a lot of talk about could UTSA be in the playoffs this year, and then, of course, the season started. But the fact that you've got a Boise State with a first-round bye, as a commissioner in the American, is that a positive? Saying, you know what, it can happen, all the talk that could, but we all wondered, would they? The fact that Boise State does get a first-round bye, is that, something that a commissioner of the American is excited about?
Yeah, Jason, I would tell you from the beginning, I never sat and wondered if it was possible. I really didn't, because the system has been set up in a way, everybody forgets this. Like, it's amazing in November how few people still understood how this damn thing was supposed to work. Right? Everybody's like, well, the SEC gets one and the Big Ten gets one. I'm like, no. It's the top 5 conference champions. So it could be multiple group of 5. And for a while, that's where it was headed, right? With Tulane, like people were like, wow, it could be Tulane and Boise. That's where it was headed. So I wasn't surprised by it. I am certainly encouraged that what we set out as a group to happen, to provide more access, is happening, because I think that's what everyone wants to see. We agreed, like the commissioners, there's a lot of spirited debate in that room, okay? But we agreed as a group in the summer that we were not going to discuss the future, expanded format, how the bye should work, until we get all the way through the competition cycle this year. And now people are coming to me saying, well, what do you think? I'm like, we're not done. Like, let's see how the games play out. It is curious, right, to see who ended up in a bye, who has a harder path to the national championship, that maybe earned a higher seed. These are all things that are going to be discussed. But I know this, while everybody is protecting their enterprise as a commissioner, that's a group in there that is trying so hard to get it right. I worked across the hall from Tony Battiti at ABC Sports when I was a young executive, when he literally created the BCS out of his office. And everybody's like, oh, computers are deciding. Computers are objective, right? And then you have a committee and everybody wonders how all this stuff works. There's no system that will not incite complaining from someone, right? But so long as there's progress to make it inclusive and that you're putting the best teams on the field to compete and have a chance to win, and everybody has a chance at it, I don't think anybody can say anything about that. And that's the trend where we're headed right now.
Well, Tim, complaining keeps us employed. So that's a good thing.
I don't know how the heck you guys stay on the radio if there were no complaints.
Well, I mean, that's true. Although I've got one complaint. You know people. When they show the committee watching games together, there's no beer, there's no popcorn, there's no nachos. How the hell are people watching football together like that and being objective? Okay. And it's all sponsorable, too, right? I mean, you can make some money on this. I just see that room, and I wonder how I can trust them.
I mean, don't you think these committee people have it hard enough? You put a sponsor on them, and then there'll be more controversy?
I mean, you're making them all watch beer in a room, and they look uncomfortable, like they're ready for a test, and you're watching football.
Did you see the tweet, though? So the CFP staff tweeted a whiteboard the day of the selections with the menu. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was like, we're going to have this. We're going to have sliders. We're going to have fresh popcorn, and we're going to have – I didn't see any alcohol in there. Which I would say if there is, we got a bigger problem. but I did the mock selection earlier in the year. They invite ADs and commissioners coming to do it. I did it. And what I can say is you're well fed when you do that 2-day selection.
All right. So it's a photo op.
It's a photo op.
That was just a photo op.
Yeah, it's a photo op. I don't know if they should have them all sitting in those lounge chairs with their feet up, but what am I to say?
Exactly. Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. Appreciate you coming by. Have fun tomorrow at the Army-Navy game.
Thank you, guys. You too. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference on the Army-Navy Radio Row. And the game tomorrow, you can listen to it here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, brought to you by the Break Room Bar in Live Oak and Ewald Kubota, and, of course, on television on CBS.
Outstanding. Tim Pernetti's a good dude, and I like that. We do have some news, though.
Well, breaking news?
A little breaking news, Pledge. San Francisco 49er linebacker Devondre Campbell has been cut.
Good.
And I'm surprised it took this long, quite frankly. He's the guy, if you don't recall, that refused to go in last night and play.
He quit in the third quarter.
And quit, went back to the locker room. Well, he's and I'm surprised it took this long, quite frankly. I wouldn't have let the guy take a shower. Take your stuff off, get dressed, and get out of here.
Yeah, because leave your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Never.
He refused to go into a game. And teammates were mad. I mean, everybody's mad. I mean, and you're right. I am surprised that wasn't done last night. I don't know what the process is. I don't know, did they have to check with HR or, I mean, well.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe so.
It's bizarre. And obviously, in this day and age, where we are all very aware and more accepting of in a gladiator sport mental health issues, did they have to consult somebody on that front? Had he had any complaints on that front? That might have taken a while, but because clearly, a player says I don't want to go in, and you're in the NFL, and I know he lost his starting job because he was there. The guy was hurt. He came back. He lost his gig. Whatever it was just bizarre.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything like that. Just refusing to go in and play. Hey, but he did. Maybe he's got some issues. Hopefully, if he does, he'll get them worked out. But the 49ers had no choice.
Well,
I mean, you cannot allow that to happen. You can't.
In something like when Antonio Brown did it, you almost felt like you could see that one coming a mile away. Right? I mean, there were already so many different things. And you wonder, because this is a good player, will another team pick him up? And
you're asking for trouble, I think, if you do, until you get this guy some help.
Well, and that's it. But you wonder, did he just walk away from his NFL career and everybody watching the game last night saw it?
Could very well be.
Or, well, is it like everything else? That guy can play and help our team, so let's bring him in and, different environment, because clearly he didn't feel like he belonged in San Francisco because he was willing to walk out on his teammates.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. And, boy, I tell you what, and it's been a rough year for them anyway. And then, you have something like that happen. But he's got to, again, I'm surprised it took that long. No surprise that the 49ers have said adios.
Yeah, it was bizarre. And then, look, adios to their playoff chances too.
Well,
After
that happened last night.
Last
yeah.
night's field goal fest.
No kidding.
I mean,
Ron Rivera said he called that game. I was going to apologize to him that he had to sit through that thing and try to make it interesting. What a terrible game that was. The weather was nasty. It really was, but still, neither one of those teams' offense did anything.
No, that was brutal.
It was. That
was brutal in a lot of different ways.
We were talking about, Jason, about Brock Purdy, and this is last year of his rookie deal.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to be in the 49ers plans moving forward. I mean, you look at this team, you got to believe Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if does he ever come back. Quite frankly, I don't know that he does. I wonder if the 49ers will end up paying Brock Purdy to stay, or do they let him walk?
Yeah, it depends on what their other options are. Maybe they bring Sam Darnold back.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
You never know.
Interesting.
And again, as a Mr. Irrelevant guy, you never know. But with it's funny that the way we compare certain players, and let's just use Dak for a moment. Dak with all kinds of injuries around him while he was healthy and a subpar offensive line wasn't having a good year. Brock Purdy, without all the weapons around him, looks pretty average. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's bizarre how good somebody can look when the talent around them is incredible.
Well, and sure. I mean, but there's only, maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the National Football League that don't have to have a lot of talent around them to look good. Brock Purdy last night, I thought, played fairly well. I mean, he had some bad passes, but Deebo Samuel drops 3 balls last night after complaining he wasn't getting enough attention.
Yep.
And then he just refused to catch the football or couldn't or both.
Well,
I'm not sure what. But.
And then you had Cooper Kupp that didn't do anything last night.
Nothing, not a thing.
And because
dude, Puka Nacua is a beast.
Oh, he is.
That dude is
but you look at, the fact that game didn't have touchdowns is crazy. We were at, I can't really call it a dive bar because it was too nice for a dive, but we'll call it a dive bar for this. It was fantastic, and that was a good bar.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
But the idea of, you're watching the game and nobody's scoring in fantasy playoffs, and it's after the last game with the Rams and Bills, and then you come back to a field goal fest.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Life in the NFL.
That's the way it goes.
As we continue here from Army Navy Radio Row, Jacob Hester is going to join us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You're riding with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at sasportstar.com.
What's that?
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the NFL. Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night football. Presented locally by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AIRPORT25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AIRPORT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AIRPORT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Calling all of Cowboys Nation in San Antonio. It's time to gear up with the ultimate Dallas Cowboys apparel. Whether you're heading to the game or watching from home, the Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop has you covered. From hoodies to hats, jerseys to jackets. Find all your Cowboys essentials at any of our 4 San Antonio locations. River Center, Ingram Mall, North Star Mall, and Huebner Oaks Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. Find the best selection of Cowboys gear and rep the star loud and proud.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-319-3687. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-319-3687. 800-319-3687. 800-319-3687.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop D-O Double G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line. Plus 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys when you switch.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
And we up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop D-O Double G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that J.
With 24 monthly bill credits, 4 eligible trade-ins, and 4 new lines with auto pay. Well qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Cancel the entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreements due. $829.99 credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later.
The Gomez Law Firm has been San Antonio's trusted law firm for 50 years. We have Jose with the Gomez Law Firm here with us today. Jose, tell us about the cases you all specialize in.
We do ride-sharing cases. We do 18-wheeler cases, work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you or your family have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, you need to visit joegomezlaw.com. Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Big trade in Major League Baseball today involving the Houston Astros. They traded outfielder Kyle Tucker to the Chicago Cubs. Astros in return get infielder Isaac Paredes, third base prospect Cam Smith, and right-handed pitcher Hayden Wesneski. There are 3 teams reportedly in the mix for Astros free agent third baseman Alex Bregman, including the Astros. Yankees and the Tigers want him as well.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Joe Reinagel.
That's the 3rd time in 7 seasons. The San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minutes.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back to the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix in Washington, D.C. for the Army-Navy Radio Row. Jacob Hester, Mr. Everything at LSU, played the NFL, talking a lot of college sports now. And you kind of did a lot of different things, Jacob, when you were playing. I know it's not like a fair comparison to say Travis Hunter, but when you think about Travis Hunter and what he does, the fact that he's able to do so many different things, how difficult is that?
Oh, it's remarkable. So when I first got to LSU, I actually was playing both ways. And my DB coach was Kirby Smart, who's obviously the Georgia head coach now. And then Nick Saban's your head coach, who's a DB guy. So he was in those meeting rooms as well. And then I had to go try to learn Jimbo Fisher's offense. That lasted like 10 days. That was like a 10-day period where I was like, guys, I can't do this. I was a freshman. I'm swimming in it already, you know. And so the fact that he's able to do it, not only just to do it, but to do it at the high level that he is doing it. I mean, even playing fullback and running back in college. It's two different set of plays. It's two different mentalities. And that was kind of difficult to learn those. And those are kind of similar. The fact that he's doing it, he doesn't have missed assignments. He's always where he's supposed to be. Like, that's something people don't talk about. It's remarkable. Could other people do it? Maybe, there's 5 guys that have played in recent memory. They could maybe give it. Patrick Peterson did a little bit of it at LSU, but to do it at this level, it's remarkable.
Well, you're talking about that level, and you wonder about the next level for him because obviously he's going to be a high draft pick. What do you think? I mean, he's going to have to make a choice, isn't he? You can't do that in the NFL, can you?
I don't think you can.
No.
I mean, it'd be remarkable if he could, and maybe just like maybe 10 plays on offense a game or something like that. We saw his head coach, Deion Sanders, do some of that when he was in the NFL. I personally think he's going to be a DB in the NFL. Not that he couldn't play receiver, but I just think when you start looking at, DB, it's such a precious, the quantity of DBs compared to receivers, I don't think it's as high. So I think his value would be greater at DB. Could he play receiver full-time if he wanted to? Sure. But if I'm him, I think I'm choosing DB and going out there and being like immediately one of the top guys in the league.
Jacob Hester joining us here on the Blitz. Let's go back. Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher. Who was the worst at dog cussing you out at practice? And with Jimbo, could you understand him?
Oh, so Jimbo actually every single Tuesday now over on SiriusXM, he co-hosts with us for 3 hours over on Channel 84. And we've slowed him down a little bit.
Oh, come on.
No way.
That guy can do an 18-minute interview in 2.
There's no question. Now, he's still about 4 minutes now in an 18-minute interview, but it's been a lot of fun. So EJ Manuel's my co-host, and he played for him at Florida State. I played for him at LSU. The thing about Jimbo, though, he would dog cuss you, but then he'd come back and he'd pat you on the back. Hey, here's why I had to do it. Coach Saban wouldn't come back. There's no coming back and tell you why I had to do it. And so, I love Coach Saban. He gave me my opportunity. That was a unique staff to have that many, future Derek Dooley was our running back coach. He was a head coach at Tennessee at one point. I mean, that staff was just incredible. And at the time, I'm a freshman. I have no idea how lucky I was and fortunate to be coached by those guys. But, if you're asking me which one whispered sweet nothings the loudest, probably Coach Saban.
Okay, well, then that brings us to the next question. Obviously, the biggest story in college football in some time, Bill Belichick going to North Carolina. If you're a kid coming out of high school, you're thinking about the NFL, would that sway you to go to North Carolina?
I mean, it's definitely something that he can use as his benefit of saying, hey, I've won this many titles. I've coached the greatest, football player of all time in Tom Brady. And I do think that a lot of high school recruits know who Bill Belichick is. Like, sometimes you worry about, okay, man, is he removed enough? Do they know who he is? I think they do because, it's not that long ago that he was winning championships. Again, he coached Tom Brady. Heck, I think he's been in front of a camera more now than when he was coaching in the NFL. And so, he'll have that. He'll have the Super Bowl titles. He has the Rolodex. Is it going to work? We don't know. We have seen great college coaches go to the NFL and it's failed. Same thing. We've seen great NFL coaches go to college and it's failed. He's got a system. He thinks he's got a path to be able to be successful. We'll have to see. I mean, I never would have had that on the bingo card that Bill Belichick would be coaching college football. So the college game is more like the professional game than it's ever been before, like in all aspects. And so maybe it's going to work. I don't really blame North Carolina for trying. I know a lot of people are throwing shade at him because they just had 73-year-old Mac Brown. They got 72-year-old Bill Belichick.
Well, they did get younger, which they said they wanted to do.
They did get younger. They absolutely. And who he brings in is going to be crucial.
Yeah.
Does he bring in his friends? Because I don't think friends is what you want to do here. I think you need to bring in people that know college football. His friends know professional football. And even though they are getting closer and closer, I do think having people that have been around the college game is going to be highly important for him to have around the program.
Jacob Hester joining us here on the Blitz, hosts a college football show daily on SiriusXM, played in the league, played big-time college football, won a national championship. You know what a national championship team looks like, aside from your relationship with Kirby Smart. The idea, we're San Antonio. I'm a big Longhorn fan.
Yeah.
Can Quinn Ewers lead this Texas team to a national championship?
So I just covered the SEC championship game as well, and it's a curious case of Quinn for me because 85% of the time he is locked in and he is so damn good. It's the 15% where it's just in a game he goes rogue a little bit. And it's not like in key moments. A lot of people are like in key moments. I've seen him play well in key moments, but there will be one pass here, one pass. I mean, it's like cover 2, you got a corner that's sitting there squatting and you don't carry and you still throw the football and it gets picked off. I'm like, why did he do that? 3 plays before, he throws a bomb to Golden down the sideline that nobody else in this stadium, even Arch Manning, couldn't throw that ball. So he just got to find consistency, and he's got to get rid of the plays where he's just lackadaisical a little bit, because I see some of that in his game, because he's got the talent to make any throw out there. And then you start talking about Arch Manning. When he comes in, it's wild that, by the way, that a Manning comes in to run the football. I played with Peyton in Denver. The fact that he is a running quarterback and he's related to Peyton and Eli's fascinating to me. But what are they going to do off of that? Because they hadn't shown anything. When he's come in lately, he's only ran the football. He's going to have like a Q counter, Q power play action. He's going to hit a shot down the field. And I almost feel like because the SEC championship game, it meant something. I don't want to say it didn't mean anything, but they knew they were in the playoff. Like, what are they saving with the Arch package as well that's going to be maybe the difference maker in the playoff?
Well, and you look at that, and I think he's setting that up. Sark is setting that up for sure. But you look at a Clemson team that Texas a big favorite.
Yeah.
Then Arizona State after that, Texas should probably be a big favorite. They've got a pretty good path when you look at that. I'm not discounting Clemson or Arizona State, so things should go pretty well for Texas in the first couple of rounds, I would think.
Yeah, on paper. And the 5, C was always kind of the coveted spot. It's like, hey, if you can get there, that's going to set you up pretty nice. When I look at, Clemson, there's things they do well, but they're very fortunate to be in the college football playoff. And so you like that matchup. Now, this Arizona State team, I know a lot of people there's a fraction of the country, and I talk with them every day, that if it's played west of Texas, they don't watch it. And I think Arizona State kind of falls into that category. Like Cam Scadaboo, he is going to run over whoever is in front of him. Levitt, the quarterback, can make a ton of plays. They've got receivers even with Tyson out. So that one's going to be fascinating. But Texas has every opportunity to win a national championship. I mean, they're built to win a national championship. It's going to sound wild, but maybe even like more than Georgia, who beat them twice. They have the pieces. They just got to put it all together. It starts with the quarterback position. That defense is going to keep you in every single game, just like it did in the SEC championship game. Can you run the football? Can you make enough plays? And can you not make the turnover play at the end of the game with the quarterback?
Now, it's the 13th of December. Who's your pick right now to win the national championship?
I'll go. Yeah, I hate going chalk, but I will say Oregon right now. But I think I might have Texas right there at number 2. Like, I truly do. I think Texas, like I just said, I think they are built to win a national championship. I think where their strengths lie will win you a national championship. Now they got to continue to run the football. They didn't in the SEC championship game, but they had leading into that game. If they can get that done, it's a roster that's filled with Jimmy's and Joe's Sunday players, and we talk about their path. I think it's a really nice one. And also, I'll throw Notre Dame in there.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about Notre Dame. I mean, Jeremiah Love's maybe the most undervalued player in all of college football, regardless of position. Riley Leonard, I know that, he's a little limited, but that guy will give you everything that he's got. He's talented enough to make enough plays. Their defense is going to travel. They get a home game against Indiana, going to be big favorites there. I kind of like them in the second round as well. If Georgia does not have Carson Beck, what does that team look like with that Notre Dame defense? So I would kind of go Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame.
Interesting. I've got to ask you about Texas and bring it back to that. It seems like they get up against a team like Georgia, and Georgia out-physicals them.
Yeah.
Is that a problem for Texas? They can't be physical enough?
I don't think it's a problem. I mean, Georgia does that to everybody they play. So I really think like Georgia's like the worst possible matchup for Texas. Like they truly are, because when Texas has played anybody else, they've looked completely different. Like go back and watch the Florida game. After that game against Texas, Florida went on to beat LSU. They beat Ole Miss, kept LSU and Ole Miss out of the SEC championship game. That team was really good at the end of the year. Texas manhandled them. So it's really just a Georgia matchup. And, again, Georgia does that to everybody that they play. Now, Georgia's limited as far as offensive weapons on the edge. They don't have great receivers. Carson Beck was up and down. But physicality, they've always had that. And so I don't think Texas has a problem unless they play Georgia for a third time.
Third time's a charm. We'll get them then. You beat Georgia in the Natty, you can have the SEC. They'll take the national championship.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and look,
yes.
Alabama's won 2 national titles when they didn't win the SEC West. And so I think, that they trade in the SEC West and the trip to Atlanta for those natties they got.
Absolutely. Jacob Hester, man, appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, guys.
Appreciate it. LSU legend Jacob Hester here on The Blitz. We'll talk with former Longhorn and CBS sports analyst, Brian Jones at 4:30. But next, the boss man from USAA, Wayne Peacock, the CEO. He joins us next here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Spurs play tonight, so if you staying up late watching the Spurs and Blazers game, want to have a little fun watching that, maybe win some money, make sure you download the Underdog Fantasy app and play the Pick'em game. Be like me and over 5 million other happy players that have won over $2 billion making picks by choosing higher or lower on predicted stats. Now, I'm in Washington, D.C. right now for the Army-Navy game. I just tried to open up the app to see what it looks like, and I can't play here, but you can play in San Antonio, which is good. So I can't even tell you what it's looking like tonight, what the projections are for the Spurs game, but you can go download the app and see. And one of the cool things, they are running specials, promos, or bonuses almost every single day, like Profit Boost, where you can pump up your winnings in just a tap when you apply the boost to eligible entries. Discounts where you get adjusted projections on certain player stats to give you a better shot at the win, and free picks, basically a sure thing. A player just has to get higher than 0.5 for that pick to win. So download the Underdog Fantasy app. Sign up with my promo code STAR. Deposit now, and Underdog will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Promo code STAR. Must be over 18, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Again, promo code STAR at Underdog Fantasy.
South Texas College Football Headquarters is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And the most wonderful time of the year for fans. Bowl season is no exception. The biggest and best matchups this bowl season are brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Break Room Bar. Hear them all on South Texas' first and only FM sports station, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You know the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch any big game with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. Football, basketball, all the fights. And when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch the game. Just down from the big blind, the Roo Pub, right next to the Angry Elephant. 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Are you facing divorce, a child custody battle, or a complex family dispute? AJ here for the Hicks Law Firm. Attorney Jon Hicks brings unique experience to the table. As a veteran and first responder, he knows the challenges, he knows the pressure, and he knows how to fight for what's yours. The Hicks Law Firm offers flat-free representation from beginning to end and payment plans so you can get representation now. Visit jhickslawfirm.com for a free consultation. That's jhickslawfirm.com, a local law firm with the national resources you need to win.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Listen to this message I received.
First message.
This is Santa Claus. Hey, I'm calling to give you a heads up. Last Christmas, so many people asked me for a Kinetico water softener, but getting all those Kinetico units in and out of the sleigh, up and down the chimneys, well, it's not so good on my back. So I'm going to forward all those Kinetico wish lists directly to you. Here's Mrs. Claus.
Thanks again for installing our Kinetico. I just love how soft my man's beard is, and my skin feels silky smooth, even here at the North Pole.
So if it's okay with you, I'll handle the toys, you handle the water softeners.
For a limited time, receive a free reverse osmosis drinking station at your kitchen sink. 0% interest for 12 months, and $400 when you trade in your old water softener.
By the way, the elves just love your jingle.
Call 656 Pure Kinetico.
I'm not a fan of the gluten-free cookies. Bye-bye.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE Kinetico.
South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Sunday at noon, the Cowboys hit the road to take on the Carolina Panthers.
Get off the field. Keep rolling. I like this kind of party.
Pre-game starts at 11 a.m. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota.
You asked for it, you got it. How about them Cowboys?
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix in Washington, D.C. for the Army-Navy Media Row presented by USAA with the boss man, Wayne Peacock, joining us now here on Radio Row. I go back to 2009. Before you had the Big Boss office, we were part of that original crew of can we do a Radio Row? Hey, guys, we're the presenting sponsor. Do you guys want to go do your show in Philadelphia? We were like, well, of course we do. And to what it's grown into is incredible.
Oh, Jason, it's amazing. And you think back, it seems like a long time ago, and then it looks like only yesterday, right? But the opportunity in 2009 with CBS, the academies, and us to protect the second Saturday and start to bring the game back to prominence was really special. I don't think any of us fully appreciated how big the opportunity would be, but we knew we had opportunity in front of us. And this idea of a Radio Row where we could broadcast the story before the game was a great brainchild. And then today you look up and down the row where we all are today in the Women's History Museum at Arlington National Cemetery, and we're broadcasting the story of Army-Navy across America today. We've come a really long way, as has the game, and like all of us together have been a part of this growth. And all of us have been a part of making the game so much more special.
Wayne, this thing, it really has grown, and it is special. In my experience with this, would be my third one. And it's still one of the best things that I've ever been to. But to see it here in Washington, D.C., it just seems to fit here, doesn't it?
It does. But interestingly, this is only the second time in history that the game has come to Washington, D.C. It's been in Philly 90 times over its history. But I think there's providence out there. You think about 9/11, 20th anniversary, we're in New York. 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, we're in Boston. Transfer of power in our government in a way that hasn't happened in decades, it's in Washington. And the reason I make that point is because what's happening on the field tomorrow is the best of college football, right? This is two teams that are doing really well, that are going to have a great game tomorrow. But it's college football in a classic way, around classic competition. They're going to, from opening kickoff to the last play of the game, they're going at each other 100%. And when they finish, they're going to put on the uniform of the United States, and they're going to go and serve our country. So that ability to compete and to be against each other and then to be for each other for the greater good, I think is a message we got to tell to the rest of America in a really powerful way. And we get a chance to do that tomorrow.
Wayne Peacock, the CEO of USAA, joining us here on The Blitz. And a couple days ago, CBS announced a 10-year contract extension to continue to carry the game on the second Saturday. And I know there was a little bit of concern with the expanded playoff. Would that affect the ability to be the standalone game on that second Saturday? And obviously, USAA and your abilities and CBS here, we're protecting that.
We are all working hard to protect second Saturday. And this morning, we announced that we're extending our sponsorship as well. So we'll go out to 2030 now, and we're continuing to talk to the academies about extending out further. But this morning, we officially announced extending ours to 2030. So you've got great partnership with CBS. You've got great partnership with USAA. And I think we've got a lot of other focus around the playoff committees as well, that we have to protect second Saturday and deliver a great opportunity to showcase America's game. We're going to keep working on that collectively, but I think there's a lot of folks that want to make sure that happens.
Well, again, we mentioned the game in Washington, D.C. The game and USAA go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's a perfect partnership.
There is no doubt about that. At some level, you look out in the stadium tomorrow, and most of the people that'll be there are either members or could be members of us. So it's, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. But more importantly, this is a labor of love for us, as we have talked about before. It's our opportunity to showcase the academies, to showcase America's game, to tell that story in a really powerful way. And I think what's so special is that tomorrow's leaders in our country come from places like the academy. The values and the character that are being taught, built, and supported there are going to form the foundation for the best and brightest in our leadership going forward. So being a part of that, and then being able to tell the story to younger people and to moms and dads out across America of why you would want your kids to come be a part of this, is a big part of why we do this.
Wayne Peacock joining us here on the Blitz. Now, last week you were at West Point as Army won the American Athletic Conference Championship. Now, I seem to know they played the school that you attended, right? Was that a little bittersweet? I saw you up on the stage. I couldn't tell if you were just cold or excited for Army, but that was your school that they beat.
Well, here's what I tell you. I've been to 4 academy games this year, so I've got a chance to see both teams play. And I've been to the Tulane Army game, and I've been to the Tulane Navy game. When I went to the Navy game, I was dressed all in Navy gear. And when I went to the Army game, I was dressed all in Army gear. And in each one of those games, I had an opportunity to go see the athletic director and the president of Tulane, my school. And I just had to tell them, hey, like, business matters and passion matters. And I know I'm a Tulane grad, but I am Army Navy, through and through. I will tell you, when I walked into the superintendent's, party there at West Point last Friday night, he begins to undress me to find out if there's any Tulane gear, underneath the Army gear. I'm like, sir, I'm Army through and through here. And you saw me at the end. I will tell you as well, since it's a San Antonio station, there's a tradition where the superintendent at Army does push-ups for every touchdown that is scored. And then when you score the second touchdown, you got to do 15 push-ups. So I did push-ups with a general officer and a firstie from West Point for every Army score while they beat my school last Friday night. I did 107 push-ups.
107 push-ups
in a losing cause for my team.
Yeah, be a little sore still, I would think.
Well,
right?
actually, as cold as it was, it probably actually felt good working up a little bit of a sweat.
Absolutely.
Now, the first Army-Navy game that I came to was in Philadelphia, and you got your hair cut by a TikTok guy, I think.
Yes.
So is there anything special that you have planned for this particular game?
I didn't have that planned for that particular game. So I don't know what happens tomorrow. What I do know is I'm making a set of notes for the person who's going to take over for me, and getting a haircut from a TikTok guy will be, other duties as assigned as the CEO. So.
Well, and you mentioned it. You announced recently your upcoming retirement. I know they haven't announced who's going to take over your chair, although I don't know that anybody can actually replace you. But to retire from a position like what you have, and you talked a minute ago about, the transfer of power. It's very similar in the business world. Whoever does take your seat, now nobody's going to have to deal with what you did. Like, you get the job and then COVID happens. Yeah. Like, nobody's ever had to deal with that. Like, here, welcome to the boss's chair.
Well, here's how I think about this. I think I'm the 13th CEO for USA's 102-year history. But I think about this as we're stewards, right? We get to be there for a period of time. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us and built this great legacy that's USAA. And while we're here, we worked on building a foundation for the next generation as well. And I think that's what we're called to do, is to do a great job while we're here and prepare so that we're even better in the future, and then give the next person up the opportunity to take USA to even greater heights. And that's what we've done for 100 years. We started in 1922 with 25 Army auto policies, right? Today, we insure over 15 million cars, right? There are 14 million members out there, and we are serving with 37,000 employees. So we are better today than we were the day I took over, and we're better than we were in the past. And I'm expecting in the future, we're going to be even better than we are today. And that's this pursuit of excellence that is so much a part of our culture. So I think about this as my time to be a steward of this great association, and then the opportunity for the next person to come along and take USA to even greater heights.
Well, Wayne, congratulations, because having this game be associated with USAA moving forward for a number of years is tremendous. So congratulations on that accomplishment for sure.
Well, great. Thanks, Joe. And I think, as I walk off, one of the things that I'm really proud of is our ability to support this game, to be a part of the game coming back to prominence, to say we had a little bit to do with making America's game a great American experience again.
Because I've known you, Wayne Peacock, long before you were the CEO. You can't just go play golf every day. I mean, so what does the retired CEO of USAA plan to do? Like, you get your resume together, you get your LinkedIn profile updated. I mean, I can't imagine you not doing something.
Well, Jason, look, I'll tell you, I've had 10 different jobs at USAA over the last 36 years. I interviewed for the first job, and I haven't interviewed since then. Someone has tapped me on the shoulder and said, here's your next assignment. And that's how it's gone for 36 years. So to your point, it's like, okay, I get to choose now. I'll tell you one thing that's true is we're going to back off the schedule just a little bit. Ginny and I are going to play grandparents a little bit more, and that's a really exciting phase of our lives. Hopefully my golf game gets tuned up a bit. I'm going to sail my boat a little bit more, but we'll continue to do business work, investment work, and continue to support important veterans causes. I'm the vice chairman of the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. We're working on supporting caregivers because they're part of the left out military family that won't fully appreciate what goes on for them and how we can support them. And so that's, one of the things that I will do, but we'll get involved in business just at a little bit slower pace than being the CEO of USAA.
Hey, I'm up for a good golf game. Anytime you're ready, Wayne.
All right, I'm ready to come play.
Okay, let's do it.
You've got a job.
Wow, that's a good point.
Knowing that, from the beginning of what we're doing here at Army Navy to your retirement, if I don't see you before you actually, turn in your key card, congratulations on an incredible career and what you have helped build here for Army Navy Radio Row.
Well, thank you very much. But look, just a shout out to all of our employees in San Antonio and our employees across the country, because I get to represent the great work that they do. And every single day, 37,000 USA teammates come to USAA to serve our military, to bring their passion and their expertise. That's why we are so successful. It's not because of me. It's because of the 37,000 teammates who come to work to do a great job every day. And we're blessed to be part of the leadership team, to be stewards during our time here.
Wayne Peacock, CEO of USAA. I know you're busy. Appreciate you stopping by and jumping on with us in San Antonio.
All right, Jason, Joe, thank you all very much. Enjoy the game and continue to tell the great story of Army Navy.
We certainly will do that. Wayne Peacock, CEO of USAA, as we continue here from Army Navy Media Row, presented by USAA. Brian Jones from CBS Sports, maybe? We know we'll talk with Jon Machota coming up at 5:15 here on the Blitz on 94.1. San Antonio Sports Star. Weather in San Antonio, a lot nicer than it is here in D.C. You can't go outside and smoke meat in D.C. this weekend, but you can in San Antonio. The weather's going to be great. So get into Tri-County Meat Market, whether it's over off Fair Oaks or Ralph Fair Road in Fair Oaks or the Huebner location, because that great meal starts with great meat. Tri-County Meat Market, locally owned, full service. They have everything you need to up your grilling game for this weekend, but you also need to get in there and think about your Christmas dinner and pre-order some of those special meats that you're going to do for the holidays. Bone-in prime rib, prime tenderloin. You want to order those in advance. Reserve that so you've got them and it's ready to go. Tri-County has what you need with the quality you expect. And you can always take advantage of their Pick 5 special, and they always offer a 10% discount for military and first responders. Two great locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Huebner, online at tricountymeat.com.
The Morning Huddle.
And I went and just opened the closet and grabbed what I thought was a more manly vest.
I wish it would have been your wife's puffy vest.
Well, but the problem was, if I could have zipped it up,
it looks like a life preserver.
That's what it would look like. Is there such thing as a
barely goes down to his
puffer
ribs?
Vest?
Yeah.
Did you make a little tube top puffer vest to cover my, well, I'd say B cups right about now?
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Kettle to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text KETTLE to 321-321. That's Kettle to 321-321.
Joe Reinagle here for the Golf Club of Texas, open to the public 7 days a week with a country club feel. It's football season, so book your tee times early at golfclubtexas.com and stick around and watch the games. Make Golf Club of Texas your football headquarters where you can watch every game. They'll even stay open until the end of every NFL game, including Thursday, Sunday, and Monday nights. Get into the Tin Cup Bar at the Golf Club of Texas, Highway 90 at Briggs Ranch Road. Golf Club of Texas, the friendliest golf course in Texas.
We all expect our home to protect everything we love. But here in Texas, we don't expect the ways water is breaking down our foundations and damaging our homes. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is shifting. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Foundation Support Specialists. Make sure your investment is protected. Get your free inspection at foundationsupportspecialists.com.
Hey, Manny Jr. here with Rock's Discount Vitamins. This holiday season, don't let those extra pounds sneak up on you. We have the largest selection of weight control products to help you stay on track. Boost your metabolism with our non-stimulant fat burners, or try Cuts, which helps your carbs work for you, not against you. With 12 locations across San Antonio, Rock's Discount Vitamins has everything you need to keep your diet in check this holiday season. Find us at rocksdiscountvitamins.com. We thank God and you for your continued support.
Calling all of Cowboys Nation in San Antonio. It's time to gear up with the ultimate Dallas Cowboys apparel. Whether you're heading to the game or watching from home, the Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop has you covered. From hoodies to hats, jerseys to jackets. Find all your Cowboys essentials at any of our 4 San Antonio locations: River Center, Ingram Mall, North Star Mall, and Heidner Oaks Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. Find the best selection of Cowboys gear and rep the star loud and proud.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix. Army Navy Radio Row, presented by USAA. Brian Jones from CBS, Longhorn legend, stopping by. This is going to be a lot of fun. Brian, how you been, man?
I was great until last weekend.
See, I think we can all start there, and I'm just going to kick back and grab this bag of chips over here and let Joe Reinagle ask you a question, and then I'll be back in 20.
Yeah, well, see, now, his answer may surprise you. I don't know. All right, Brian, I got to ask you because, Quinn Ewers.
I knew he was going there.
Yeah,
Quinn Ewers.
Yep.
Great between the 20s, not so good in the red zone.
Yep.
Is it time for Arch?
Far be it for me to take over play calling from Coach Sarkisian because he's there day in and day out. But, yes, from the 30,000-foot perspective, you would think there would be a few more opportunities in the red zone for the backup quarterback who has wheels as well as the arm. And even outside of the 20s, there were throws, there were plays to be made that were not made, and this keeps occurring. We need to be more consistent in this passing game. The last defensive PI on Georgia, Wingo's open. Lead the dude. That's a touchdown. You're not going to win these type of games kicking field goals. You need to score touchdowns if you're going to beat Georgia. You need to score touchdowns. I said the same thing when Bama was ruling the SEC. You're not going to beat them kicking field goals. You need touchdowns. So there were opportunities in games of that magnitude. There won't be as many opportunities. So when they present themselves, you need to execute. And offensively, Texas didn't do it, didn't score touchdowns. Defensively, they played lights out first half, then the second half. So it was perplexing to me. You got their backup quarterback in. I'm putting everybody that traveled to Atlanta from Austin in the box.
Yeah.
You're going to prove to me you can pass. If you pass, you're successful, we'll tip our hat to you. Great job. But no, I'm putting everyone in there. I'm blitzing your ass, and you ain't gonna have room to breathe. And yet they didn't do that. Then on the last play, you put Beck. They put Beck back in. You know he can't throw.
Yeah.
He can't even raise his arm up.
Yeah.
And nothing.
You're not a frustrated Longhorn
I
fan
am not
at all.
frustrated. I'm so over that game. When did that game happen?
We're in the playoffs. That's all that matters. Although I'm throwing them a softball.
What do you mean a softball?
4:39 in San Antonio. I just wondering, earlier in the week it was bench Quinn, start Arch, not run some plays with Arch where he might throw the ball.
And Brian, here's the reason. I think that just for an offensive spark, why not? Look, why not?
Listen, I think Sark has packages for both of these guys. We saw it in the A&M game where he put Arch in. He has the touchdown run. So once again, it's above my pay grade. He is there with those guys all the time, and I'm sure there were some situations where he would want to put Arch in. He didn't feel as though they presented themselves, and you got to ride with your starting quarterback. And I can understand a coach being loyal to their starting quarterback. I get it. That just goes with the territory.
It does, but the package of plays. At what point do we actually see Arch get in and throw the ball? Because, we know he's got wheels, but I feel like every time he comes in, I know a run's coming or they're going to snap it between his legs.
Well, that was not the case when they played Georgia the first time. He came in, he had a couple series, and he threw the ball, and he wasn't on point in that ball game. Maybe he would have thrown it better in this one. We'll never know. But he had his opportunity in that first installment versus Georgia, and didn't go so well for anybody involved.
Well, that's very true. All right, moving on.
Therapy session is over.
Well, no, I think obviously Quinn's going to get the start. I think the Longhorns are fortunate in the bracket that they're in.
Oh, yeah.
I really do, right?
No doubt. I didn't think they were going to get that 5 hole, and we said all season long that was going to be the honey hole, that 5 spot, because you'd probably have the easiest path to the championship game, which is unfair if you ask me. Oregon, they're number 1. They've gone wire to wire. They should have the easiest path, similar to the March Madness.
Yeah.
So there should have been some reseeding done, and maybe they'll do that next year. But Penn State, and I'm not taking SMU lightly. I wouldn't be surprised if SMU wins that game. They have a ton of speed. They're coached well by Lashley. They've got athletes by the boatload, and they play some good football. And the way they came back in that game last week versus Clemson in the ACC championship game is the reason they're in the tournament. Because if it would have stayed as is, I think Bama would have overtaken them, and they would have gotten that spot.
You look at it now, because you can argue, is Georgia the 2 seed? They've got an easier road than, say, Oregon. But, Penn State, you're right. It's interesting now that we're here, and now we're arguing, well, who's got the easiest path? Who's got the best chance to hoist the trophy when this is all said and done?
I think everyone has flaws, Georgia included. And we've seen that now a couple times. Ole Miss, you saw it versus Georgia Tech, first half versus Texas. They've got some issues. We've talked about Texas and what ails them. Everyone, even Oregon. We had the Big Ten championship last week. I didn't expect Penn State to post that many points on them. But you look at the 3 CFP opponents Oregon has faced this year: Ohio State, Boise, and now Penn State. Each had at least 32 points on that defense. If it was not for their offensive prowess, we wouldn't be talking about them in the light in which we are. So everyone has some issues. Georgia, they're going to have the winner, Notre Dame and Indiana, I believe. So that's not too easy. It's going to be fun, though, man. I think this is tremendous. I'm glad we have extra football and a lot of it. I've been a big advocate of them expanding the playoff, and for it to finally be here, it's going to be great theater and drama.
Well, and they're already talking about maybe expanding it more.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Bring it.
I
more
agree,
football.
right?
Heck yeah, more football.
Yeah.
Who's not for more football?
I'm all for it, especially football that matters.
Now, once again, they need to reseed. I think they tweaked that somewhat. But the reason we're here now is because they wanted to get everyone on board. And so they had to comprise it in this manner for this first year so we can get everyone on board to buy in. And now, the first iteration is never going to be the final. And so you do some tweaks here and there, but I think it's great. And if they expand them more, who's not going to want that?
Exactly. Brian Jones from CBS Sports. played at Texas. You did all that stuff. Army-Navy game tomorrow on CBS. Well, you've got a lot of coverage. You're going to be sitting outside in the cold all day,
It's freezing. I just came from rehearsal.
It's stupid cold, man.
I ain't made for this.
I got a heated vest. It's a good investment, bro.
I got hand warmers, booty warmers. I got all type of warmers, man. This ain't. Why they do this to a brother? I mean, no, we ain't for this. Come on, they tripping. No.
Well, seriously, what's your schedule tomorrow?
We have call times 11 a.m. So we'll get out there at 11 and be frozen by the time they kick at 3. Our pregame starts at 2:30, but it's so cool. It's so you guys know you do it every year now. It's unique. You can't describe it. This is something you have to feel, something you have to experience, and once you do it, this is probably 10, 12 straight for me. And they never get old. It is so cool, the immense patriotism that you feel in that stadium and just knowing what both teams have waiting for them on the horizon once this thing is over. It's like fighting with your brother, and you want to kick his butt. But then when it's over, that's my brother. Don't you touch him. I got him. I got his back. And that's the same with these guys. They're going to be going up against each other tomorrow. Once it's over, they're brothers in arms protecting us.
Absolutely.
And obviously CBS Sports and USAA see the value in it. They both re-up.
We just re-up for 10 more years, I believe, is the deal. Yeah, America's game. It's pure. It's the purest form of football. And why not celebrate those who have made that commitment, that dedication to lay their lives down for us? I mean, who wouldn't want to be involved with that type of game? And it's bigger than a game. It's bigger than a sporting event, man. It is just – it's indescribable. You have to feel it. You have to come here and be in that stadium and experience the march on when the cadets and midshipmen all come in and then the players get out there. And these uniforms are always just dynamite. They are so cool. And they will be again tomorrow. So we all have this effusive praise for the spectacle that it is. And the reason why is because you cannot describe it. It's just so. Each and every time is different, too, man. It's just cool.
Well, and you get to describe it again tomorrow on CBS. Go Navy, beat Army. Although, little nugget for you, knowing where you live, the captain at West Point, Max DiDomenico, San Antonio area guy, went to Clemens High School, man.
Yeah.
Show Texas some love.
How about Daly for Army? He's from my neck of the woods, West Texas. He's from Abernathy, Texas. And that's where we used to do all our hunting growing up, Abernathy and Hell Center and all those little parts, man. So there's a ton of kids from Texas on both of these teams. They seem to get their fair share.
Absolutely. Stay warm out there, Brian. They're telling you got to go. You got
Where we going?
You got another interview to do.
That was fast. You sure?
Yeah.
Hey, you can stick around if you want to.
I tell them, why do they schedule you in such short blocks? You talk too much. I mean, you're long-winded. You're fun. The conversations go. You can't
talk too much. You're right. It's time to go.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Hey, he said that.
I'm long-winded, man. Like, we can't. Oh, man, we go another 30 minutes.
What happened when it get good to you?
Yeah.
You keep on talking. Get that hump in your mouth. Y'all quit playing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate you. There you go. Hook 'em is right. That's awesome, man. See, I told you. Yeah.
That's great, man. He's great.
He is. He's long-winded. He talks a lot.
He's great.
You can't do a short interview.
No, you really can't. And, we need to talk to these handlers to, give us some more time with guys like Brian.
Well, what they've got to do is not give you a 1 minute warning. It's like, all right, 3 minutes. Or 5 minutes.
I just kind of ignored that.
Well, me too. Until they're really
exactly.
Yeah, well, but you also want to be, courteous because there's another show that's, their segment's about to start and they're waiting. But see, I know Brian. He'll come back like Joe Theisman did.
Yeah.
You having fun?
Well, they do. Ron Rivera didn't want to leave.
No,
that's the best table in the place.
It is.
It is.
Tim Pernetti, the commissioner.
What do we keep Tim about an hour?
No, well, and then he kept coming back.
He did.
Every commercial break, he's got a break.
Man.
Come over.
Love it. No,
tell Jeff Traylor this. And
we're blessed, man, because I tell you, a lot of good folks out here, and it's just a lot of fun to talk to them about all kinds of stuff. We're here for Army Navy, and that's a big deal. But man, to be able to have these folks here and talk to them about stuff that's important to our listeners and to everybody.
Well, and again, I mean, we're all sports fans.
Yes.
And, Mark Ingram coming up. I mean, obviously he does a lot with college football now. He's won a Heisman. We'll get into those kind of conversations, but the running back situation in the NFL seems to be making a change.
Yep.
And, kind of like what we were talking about earlier with Jacob Hester, the idea of running backs were so devalued and do you even need them? And this year we're proving that we do. Or no, it was Ron Rivera who pulled out these stats. And if you miss any of these interviews, check the audio vault at sasportstar.com, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. But what was the stat that Ron Rivera told us? 7 of the top 10 teams, which are all playoff teams,
have good running backs.
Have a running game.
You got to have it.
And the Cowboys this year completely ignored the idea of, what we need? A running back.
Got to have a running back, and I hope it makes a comeback. I mean, I really do, and that not overpay for these guys, but the importance of it. And I know the Cowboys, we always go back to them, thought that Rico Dowdle could be the guy. Maybe he can be. But you got to find somebody. You got to have that bell cow that you can count on that's going to get you 2, 3, 4 yards. You got to have it and consistently do that. So hopefully Jerry and Steven are learning something about the running back position.
Well, the difference when they a couple of years ago tried to go wide receiver by committee, early on they realized that wasn't going to work and they made a trade.
Yeah.
We'll never know. But I got to believe they looked at trying to make a trade this year. There was just nobody they could trade for. But it is borderline malpractice by the front office with their running back situation. When you look around the league and teams that are on now running back whatever, and they're still able to go and produce, whether you're talking about, say, San Francisco and all the injuries they've had at running back, the Giants get rid of Saquon, but they're able to find some running backs. Look at the Las Vegas Raiders, the injuries they have had, and now you have Sincere McCormick as RB1.
Yeah.
Here's a practice squad guy who is proven to be a legit runner in the NFL. And you look at a guy like Sincere, whether it's with the Raiders or somebody else, because of these last couple of games and what he's been able to do is produce and more yards in every game. He is showing that he can play. So whether it's with the Raiders or somebody else, he's going to be one of those guys that is going to have a job in the National Football League as a running back.
Yeah, and how much will his stock go up? I mean, these next 4 games, he could do himself loads of worth. Come out and have some good performances in these next 4 games, and who knows what might happen to Sincere. So happy for him, and I hope he's successful. I hope he has. I hope he just does great and is in demand after that. So, but running backs got to come back. And you wonder, because football, the National Football League, as you know, Jason, is ebbs and flows, right? So right now, quarterbacks, you got to have a quarterback. You got to pay the quarterback. Wide receiver, you got to pay the wide receiver. Edge rusher, that's it. Offensive line, defensive line, those things, are pretty important too. So we'll see.
I mean, you've got to have a complete team. They're all important. How do you build your roster and manage your cap?
That's it.
And that's where Stephen Jones is always right. And I look at Philadelphia. I look at some of these, San Francisco. I look at some of these other teams that have a lot of high-priced guys, yet they're able to do it. And now it's an odd year for San Francisco, so maybe not the best example because they're going to be like the Cowboys this year when the playoffs start. They'll be in Cancun. But when you look at what Philadelphia is able to do and some of these other teams, it can be done if you know what you're doing. And you're running a gazillion-dollar business, and Steven's already, next year the cap's going to go up again. I mean, everybody with YouTube TV, your bill just went up $10 because of all the money they're giving to the NFL. Well, that's going to translate into a bigger salary cap.
Yeah, it is, and they're going to move some stuff around. And you're going to have some guys fall off of that thing. They'll have some money. The question is, what will they do with it? Will they go out and will they bring in a player or two that they have to pay? So that's going to be the question. They can find the money. All these teams can find it. It's just a matter of how far do you want to push it down the road.
Yep.
Right? Because Dax, he may redo his contract. I mean, that's a possibility where some of that money goes to the end of the deal. CeeDee Lamb may be asked to do that. You just don't know, but they can find the money. What do they choose to do with it? I want to see the Cowboys go out and get a piece or two, a veteran piece or two that will help this team immediately, not a rookie that maybe will be okay, maybe not, or it may take 2 or 3 years until that rookie is there. I'd like to see him go out and get a couple of good pieces.
It's the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, live in Washington, D.C. for Army Navy Radio Row. We'll talk more Cowboys coming up. Jon Machota from The Athletic will join us at 5:15. Pledge is telling me we have tickets to give away to go
how about
see
that?
Eclipse, that Journey tribute band, May 20th at the Aztec Theater. Tickets went on sale today, livenation.com. You can win a pair right now if you're caller number 9 at 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 9, you're going to go see Eclipse May 20th at the Aztec Theater.
Riding I-35 with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville, and everywhere at SASportsStar.com. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home for Texas A&M football. Friday night, December 27th at 9:30. The Aggies head to CNC to take on the USC Trojans in the Las Vegas Bowl. Presented by Ewald Kubota and the Angry Elephant. Pre-game coverage begins at 8:30 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
In Texas, your spouse can claim alimony after just 10 years of marriage. Do you know your countdown? I guarantee she does. I'm Gary Barton, owner of Barton & Associates, attorneys at law. If you're considering divorce, it's absolutely crucial to understand your options right now. Don't let alimony catch you off guard. Protect what you've built and secure your hard-earned assets. Visit TexasDivorce.com. At Barton & Associates, we focus on navigating the complexities of divorce law to ensure you're not left vulnerable. Divorce is tough, but you have a choice. Take control of the process or allow your spouse to dictate the terms. If you're serious about safeguarding what you have built and your financial future, Barton & Associates is the team for you. We'll act swiftly and decisively, ensuring that you're not taken advantage of. Call Barton & Associates at 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-million. Or visit TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Principal Office, San Antonio.
There's one name in roofing that stands high above the rest. Stevens Roofing. A quality roof overhead by Stevens Roofing means comfort, confidence, and peace of mind. It's protection for all the things you love. And during this holiday season, Stevens Roofing would like to thank all the first responders and military service members for the protection and peace of mind they provide. So for all your roofing needs, commercial or residential, remember Stevens Roofing. Online at stevensroofing.net. Happy holidays from Stevens Roofing.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
When life changes fast, you need a lawyer who's been there. AJ here for the Hicks Law Firm. Attorney Jon Hicks offers unique experience as a veteran and first responder to give you a strategic, results-driven approach. Facing divorce, child custody battle, or a complex family dispute, the Hicks Law Firm offers flat-fee representation from beginning to end, so you know exactly what to expect with no surprises. Visit jhickslawfirm.com for a free consultation. That's jhickslawfirm.com, a local law firm with the national resources you need to win. The Hicks Law Firm.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
If you haven't started celebrating Pixmas, you haven't started celebrating. Start today on Prize Picks because it's Pixmas time, and man, oh man, it's time for a shot at 1,000 times your cash. That's right, you got a shot for 1,000 times your cash. You can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Merry Pixmas! Head over to Prize Picks, use what you know, and win up to 1,000 times your cash. I can't say it enough. That's Prize Picks. Head over today, pick your favorites. Before you know it, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's so easy to play. You've been a fantasy player for years. Now put it to use. Prize Picks puts your knowledge to work. Just a couple of clicks away, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Remember that code Alamo for free money. That's Prize Picks. Head over today, join the millions, download the app, and win up to 1,000 times your money. Easy to do. Download the app today and use the code Alamo. Prize Picks. Run your game.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Bad news. Former NFL wide receiver Randy Moss has just come out and told us all he has liver cancer. More to come on that story, that is for sure. Cowboys in Carolina on Sunday to take on the Panthers, a game you can catch in your home for Dallas Cowboys football right here, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, beginning at 11 o'clock with the pregame on Sunday morning. The Texans, they welcome in the Dolphins.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
Joe Reinagle.
That's the third time in 7 seasons the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.
Jason Minutes.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
It's the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minix, live in Washington, D.C. at the Military Women's Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery, side of Army-Navy Media Row, presented by USAA. Of course, the game tomorrow. It's been an incredible day. We got another hour to go. Mark Ingram will join us coming up at 5:30. Jon Machota at 5:15. But man, I it's Friday. But it is the breaking news, and I don't know if anybody's overly surprised when Randy Moss didn't look right on Sunday Countdown. Then the next week was wearing sunglasses, said he was dealing with something. There were some reports earlier this week that it was liver cancer, and he posted a video on his Instagram a couple of minutes ago saying, in fact, he does or did have liver cancer. He describes himself already as a cancer survivor because, as he said, they found it, they went and got it.
Yeah, this is something. He's still got to do some chemo, he says, in this story. So still some work to be done. Interesting, there was a mass, he says, in the bile duct right between the pancreas and the liver. He said he noticed some discoloring in his urine. First surgery on this thing was right around Thanksgiving. And so interesting and very sad. Hopefully he does beat this thing.
Well, and again, he describes himself now as a cancer survivor, and you can only hope that's that they did get it, and you go through the process, and he'll be back on television soon, and can get healthy and continue to live the life that he has created for himself.
Yeah, cancer sucks.
It does.
It does.
It does. In so many ways.
Yep.
There's no transition from that. We're here at Army Navy, and real life slaps you in the face with the Randy Moss news. And you look at, we all know people that are battling right now, and sports is that great distraction from those battles, which is what Army Navy is. And anytime you're watching something, I think one of the reasons why sports talk radio is so popular, well, there's a couple of reasons, is sports gambling is one, and no appointment television is another. But also, you go to work every day and you deal with whatever crap you deal with at work, and sports is your escape from reality. And a show like this, you're able to kind of hash it out, debate, talk, bust nuts, all of that, right? That's what it's all about. And then you get these bucket list events like what we have for the Army Navy game. In fact, this morning on the Morning Huddle is Mike McCarthy, Cowboys head coach, is on with Rob and AJ,
every Friday, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. You know, McCarthy realized, dude, you guys are an Army Navy. That's a bucket list kind of event.
Mike McCarthy, Coach, how you doing this week?
Doing okay. How you guys doing this week?
No complaints. We're up in Washington D.C. for Army Navy, so it's a very very cool event up here. Yeah, so it's a
Is that an annual
pageant.
thing?
Yes, Coach. It's one of the best things we get to do. We come to, and see all the pageantry and all of the the football in its purest form. It really is an extraordinary time, an opportunity to see that, and it's one of the extraordinary things to come up and see the game. Have you ever had a chance to see or be around it? Normally, I know you're working.
No, I haven't. I've been to 2 college football games in the last 30 years. I saw Texas A&M and Texas Tech play about 20 years ago. Cliff Kingsbury was I think a sophomore quarterback, and then
I remember that game, Coach.
Yeah,
is that the one where the goalposts were rammed into the stadium?
Well, I don't remember that part. I just remember Cliff getting hit so much, and when I went back to work, I was coaching at the Saints. I said, "Hey, we got to take a look at this young quarterback out of Tech." I just couldn't believe the way he hung in there, and they played, fairly well. I think it was his sophomore year. And I saw Wisconsin in Iowa play the year that I was off. But gosh, Army Navy, that's a bucket list right there. How long have you guys been doing that?
This will be my 8th Army Navy coach. But my cohort, Jason Minnick, so you've met him many times. He started the radio row with this thing about 15 years ago. So we've been a part of this pretty much from the beginning. The name sponsor, Coach, is USAA, the insurance company, and they're located in San Antonio. So we've got a very good relationship with them. So we began the process.
But I'm with you, Coach. It's a bucket list for me. This is my first time, and I'm an Army vet, and I've always wanted to go to this game. So being up here for me it's very, very cool. So I'm excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, that
very
was
cool. Bucket list thing.
Yeah, well,
it is. I agree.
It is. So Cliff Kingsbury, huh? He's been to 2 games and one involved Cliff Kingsbury. That's kind of interesting. And I remember a Cliff Kingsbury game. I'll never forget it. It was at A&M. What were his numbers? 45 of 55 for a gazillion yards, and they win that game in overtime. And then afterwards, we're on the field, and I'm about to do an interview with Cliff, and a wide receiver named Nehemiah Glover, has his helmet in his hand, and he comes and gives Cliff a hug, and he hits me right in the face with this little scar right there. I'm down on the field. It was, I'll never forget that moment.
You think that was an accident?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
You sure?
No.
That's funny. Oh, man. No, Cliff was a great player, and now a great offensive mind, and doing some good things there at Washington, and probably will get another opportunity to be a head coach at some point in time, maybe next season. Who knows?
Well, it's possible. And it's interesting because he's been a head coach at Texas Tech. He's been a head coach in the NFL. So he knows what it's like to be a head coach in the NFL and what it's like to be a head coach in college. And, boy, his answer about Bill Belichick going to college, a little different than most of the other ones.
Topic question. Obviously, Bill Belichick going to North Carolina. You're one of the few people who's done both. So what do you kind of think of the idea of a guy at his status going to college in this day and age?
I will have to see him on the sideline to believe that's happening. We'll see how the NFL job search goes and all that. I will have to see him on the sideline coaching in Chapel Hill to believe that's happening.
The landscape has changed a ton even since you were there because of NIL. Could you imagine having to deal with that these days?
I got to just sit around and observe last year, and no, I don't see my man going in any home visits or doing like a cocktail hour after visits. I just don't. Maybe he'll set it up like an NFL deal, but I have to see that.
That's hilarious. And Cliff knows Belichick fairly well. So
played for him, won a Super Bowl ring, holding a clipboard.
So, he knows him fairly well. So interesting. That whole thing's going to be fun to watch. It really is. And North Carolina just needs to bask in the publicity that they're going to receive, because they're going to get a lot of it. And so enjoy that. Hopefully Belichick is successful there. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, and one of the things I try not to do on this show is talk about an article that I haven't read based on a headline.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do that right now just because it's been one of those kind of crazy days here at Army Navy Radio Row. But I saw a headline earlier, and I haven't read the details, so I don't know. You might, because you've read the article while you haven't worked at work. But the headline said that details of his contract at North Carolina make it easy to jump to the NFL. So and again, I didn't read the article, so I don't know what their outs are or what the timings are. It's a 5-year deal, but only 3 years are guaranteed. And if an NFL offer comes based on that headline, it sounds like it could be a fairly easy jump.
It could be. The buyout is low, but again, it's the last 2 years that aren't guaranteed. So I like the fact that North Carolina did that and gave themselves an out in case this whole experiment doesn't work out. And let's face it, this is an experiment. I don't think you can read it any other way because there are so many good college coaches out there that North Carolina could have gone and gotten. They chose Belichick, and they chose each other, and I understand why. College football is more like pro football than it's ever been. And so I get it. I understand it. But, there's always that chance that it's not going to work just for all the reasons Cliff Kingsbury said. I mean, just listening to that soundbite we just heard, all of those reasons are a good reason why this might not work. So good for North Carolina to give themselves an out. And it'll be interesting to see. But Belichick, if he lasts 3 years, dude's going to be 75 years old. What NFL team is going to come looking for him? I mean, in all seriousness.
None.
They weren't looking for him now, for goodness sake.
Which I think is one of the reasons why he is off to Chapel Hill. Because he didn't have any options, but he wants to coach. He wants to be a part of a team. He wants to be a part of a program.
His girlfriend's going to be the head cheerleader.
Really?
Well, maybe.
I mean,
she's old. She's perfect age for it.
I mean, she should get, her grad school tuition paid.
Well, maybe old Billy boy likes those cheerleader outfits. He wants to see her in one. Honey,
I mean, you could buy those things.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Not necessarily,
but it's not the real thing. Hey, you really say, not only am I dating this 24-year-old hottie,
good Lord,
she's a North Carolina cheerleader.
It's Halloween every day.
Attaboy, Bill. You keep going.
Oh, man. Him going to college is like, bad news Billy. Like this might not be good for him.
Think about it. And this is a real thing. His girlfriend ought to be a little worried because they're all going to look at her and say, well, hey, she can get all that. And he's got deep pockets. Maybe I can get a little some of that.
I was the guy. I was the Turk. I was bad news Billy.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Bad news Billy's him at a frat party and hanging out and chugging beers and having a great time.
All of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some prop bets available for you.
I wouldn't know. You can bet on anything.
Yeah.
It's the greatest country in the world.
Does she end up dating a North Carolina football player?
Why would she do that? That's kind of stupid. Now she might have a fling.
People do a lot of stupid things. You know that.
Why would you date a guy that hasn't made any money and you got a dude with
it's NIL world. He's made money.
Not like Bill Belichick though. Dude, there's a reason a 24-year-old's dating a 72-year-old. I don't think it has anything to do with Viagra.
Well, I think there's something to do with Viagra.
Well, maybe.
I mean, it helps.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You don't think it's just true love?
No, I think yeah, she's in love with his wallet.
Wow.
That's true love.
Man. You're
not
cynical
at poundage.
Yeah. On the wallet?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bad news, Billy.
Jon Machota from The Athletic will join us next on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on any kind of gear, get into Sammy's Embroidery and Printing down on San Pedro. You need any winter gear, your logo on jackets, half zips, hoodies, beanies. Sam will get you taken care of. If you need caps, he has over 25,000 caps on display right now in his showroom. Over 700 uniform lines to choose from. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands. North Face, Eddie Bauer, Nike, Travis Matthew, Under Armour, Port Authority, to name a few. No order too big, no order too small. Call 210-824-3900, 824-3900, or go by that massive showroom on San Pedro, a mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's, or check the website, samsembroidery.com, for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
It's showtime. Let's do it. It's fun time. Here we go.
South Texas home of the 12-team college football playoff. It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. All of the matchups are brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Break Room Bar. You like that? Hear every game on South Texas' first and only FM sports station. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Oh, Christmas leaks, you make our carpet squishy.
Here at Quarter Moon Plumbing, we know all your Christmas wants, like the popular leaky faucet, the overflowing toilet, or the trendy clogged sewer line. No matter what list you're on, naughty or nice, Quarter Moon Plumbing will answer your call fast and fix your emergency quickly so you can get back to your Coco and Carolyn.
651-5899.
License number TACLA 141074E M16004.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? Jason Minix here from 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now, sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first. On your timeline, no waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades at no upfront cost. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first, sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The holiday is coming quick. If you're looking for a perfect gift that will impress, put Tupelo honey under the tree. It's luxury honey from right here in the U.S. True Tupelo honey is only found in Northwest Florida and is only harvested 2 weeks a year. At Smiley Honey, we're shipping all over the country with guaranteed delivery in time for Christmas. Tupelo honey is sweeter, lighter, and healthier, and it doesn't crystallize. SmileyHoney.com to order today. Tupelo honey, the gold standard of honey.
It's your last chance to snag Dell Technologies' lowest prices of the year before the holidays. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. This is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Monday on the Morning Huddle, after the planes, trains, and automobiles for Washington, D.C., we'll look back on a Cowboy game. And we've got two, not one, but two terrible Monday Night Football games to preview. Party starts at 6. Don't miss it.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. In a frigid Washington, D.C., our Army Navy radio
Frigid.
row. It's cold. And the building we're in apparently doesn't have heat after dark or lights. It's all skylights here, and its sun's gone, and that's why it looks very dark if you're watching on at YouTube. Well, we've been talking a lot of Army Navy and the bucket list item that is. I know our friend Jon Machota from The Athletic, who's joining us on the Buyers Barricades guest line, has this on his bucket list, but instead he gets to go watch the Panthers Cowboys on Sunday.
Wow.
I'll say this. There's been one positive to come out of this season, and that's
for people like me that don't like the cold weather, man, this schedule has worked out great. Like, we have not really hit a cold weather game. Like, Philadelphia will be the only one, obviously, because the team's not going to the playoffs, so I don't have to factor in any of that. So, like, when we just were in D.C., it wasn't bad at all. This Carolina game, I guess, from what I've seen, the Charlotte weather will probably be some rain, but in terms of the temperatures, it won't be that much different than it is in Dallas. So I was just thinking about how fortunate I have been to not have to bring like a winter jacket somewhere yet. But I mean, for the Army Navy game, I would definitely. It just does not fall on any type of like good timing for the Cowboys. Like, I've always wanted to fall on a time when I'm up in like Philly or New York or something like that, and I can like make the drive over to wherever it's at. And the schedule has just never worked out.
Well, I tell you what, it is great here, John, and you need to put it on your bucket list if you can, my friend, because it's a lot of fun. As far as the Cowboys and the Panthers go, the Panthers are favored in this game, John. I don't think they've been favored against anybody for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Bryce Young's playing better. I'll give him that. They gave the Eagles a way better game than I thought they would. But I think that line says a lot more about the Cowboys than it does the Panthers. And it's one of those things where there were some signs the last couple of weeks where you're like, you know what? It looks like that this defense is finally starting to look like a defense that you would have hoped it would have been at the beginning of the year. You know, Micah's starting to make plays and looks like he's fully healthy from that, high ankle sprain that he had. And then Overshown just looks like he's just a star in the making. And every week it seems like he's playing more and more and doing better and better. And then you lose Overshown, and you might lose Overshown for all of next season too. And it's just such a hit to that defense. And so when you factor that in with an offense that I think their offense is good enough to, they'll be able to run the ball against that poor Carolina defense. But there's just not a lot there for you to think, to make them a favorite really in any of the games the rest of the way. But I guess that's just a pretty good sign of just where the Cowboys are at right now.
Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz. That said, how did the Cowboys go in there and get a win? And I say that, they should and could and I think will win this game if their mindset is right. So, with the injury to Overshown, are they depressed, or is it let's go win one for Demo?
Yeah, that's a good point, because very early in the game it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because let's say the defense doesn't look great and Carolina goes down and scores and takes an early maybe 2-score lead or something like that. Like, how will the team react to that? Because there has to be a feeling amongst guys in there that, hey, I mean, we're just running this rest of the season out. We're not making the playoffs. And to be honest, even if you snuck in, there's no way that they feel confident they would be able to make a deep playoff run anyway. And so I wonder if that'll set in, because we haven't really seen that yet. And that's been the one thing that I feel like Steven and Jerry bring up when I talk about Mike McCarthy's job, is just how the guys continue to play for him. And so this would be one of those games, though, if it started to go south early, maybe that would be evident that you saw some guys maybe not playing as hard as they need to be, or are playing like they know the season's over. But I think running Rico is the key. I mean, because then you can put together some long drives, but will they stay committed to the run? I thought Rico was running really well on Monday night, and they kind of went away from him at times. So if he can handle 20, 25 carries, it seems like the perfect game for him to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, and I want to ask you, just what has been the feeling around there, John, when it comes to Overshown and the I know that a lot of the players were really, I don't know if devastated is the right word, but they were really affected by that injury, and it was a horrible injury. I mean, let's face it, I think everybody that was watching that game was affected by that injury. But what is the players' attitude about the Overshown loss?
I mean, they're definitely down about it, because he's such a big personality, and he's such a good dude, and then the fact that you have to factor in how, if he doesn't have that knee injury last year to start the season, what kind of impact he had on that team last year? Well, I mean, who knows? Like, the difference he could have made in the middle of that defense, flying around making plays, and probably would have made some mistakes early because he was a rookie. But who knows what he would have been by December and January, and how maybe that would have impacted what the team did in the postseason. And you just feel for the guy, because he misses out on his entire rookie year with one knee injury, and then he comes back and does everything the right way and is really starting to ascend, and then he has an even worse knee injury to the other knee. And so it's interesting, though, because when you bring up like the locker room, for me, it's one of those things where I don't even the way I look at it right now, it's like not even about like this week or next week or the rest of the season. For me, I just look around and I'm just kind of like, what's the spark in the off season? Like, if you just come and just run this thing back, like, what's the thing that's going to get everybody excited? Like, and when I say everybody, I mean the players, the coaching staff, and everything. If you're just going to keep all of this the same as it is right now, I really wonder about that, because I don't know where the things really change enough to make you to think that, like, okay, well, fine, now they're going to finally put it together. And so it's going to be interesting to watch going forward. I heard your guys' interview with Steven, and just the way he talked to the owners' meetings this week about them not doing that much, in the off season. It leaves you sitting there like kind of looking around like, what will be the spark if next season is going to be any different?
Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz. And, that conversation we had yesterday with Stephen Jones, it's like Micah Parsons. You can get that deal done early, and he made it sound like it's all media driven, that you could do it that way. And I'm thinking it's really not. At smart business, if you know you're going to do it, to get it done sooner rather than later. They can have everything worked out now, and the day they're allowed to do it, sign the deal and have a real offseason with freed up money, right?
Yeah, no, that does sound like a good idea. I will say, though, in just our times talking to Micah in the locker room, Micah does not sound that like motivated to get it done as soon as possible. Like, Micah sounds like he wants to let this thing play out because he knows that the money will just keep getting higher and higher, kind of like the way CD did it. Let's be honest, kind of the way that Dak did it. And so that's the thing with those top guys like that, that can do that stuff, that can wait to the end because they know that the team isn't going to trade them. They know that that the team needs them. And so it's kind of, both sides have to come together. Now, maybe that means that the Cowboys have to make them a pretty sweet offer like ahead of time, and make them one that maybe is a little bit more than they want to pay as of today. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that would make the most sense. But I just get the feel that this offseason is going to be similar to last, where it's like they don't do much in free agency or via trade. They'll have a new draft class. And then at some point, I do think they'll get a contract done with Micah, just like they did with CD and Dak. But in the end, most of that nucleus is like the exact same thing that you've had for the last, 3-4 years, where, for 3 of those years, you won 12 games and then weren't able to do anything in the playoffs. And so just like, I don't know. I mean, that, and I bring this up to say that I wonder if that's something that Jerry and Steven at the end of the year look at and go, well, the only thing that we can do is make a coaching change. But the problem that I think that they'll run into there is I think that they're comfortable with the structure they have right now. And then I think it'll keep coming back to, well, yeah, but I don't know if we want to change all this stuff. And I think that them being comfortable is the reason why Mike McCarthy could come back.
It'll be interesting to see if McCarthy comes back. And I think, I don't know, maybe the rest of the season, if they lose to Carolina and it looks bad, I have a feeling McCarthy may seal his fate. But who knows, right? The problem is, I agree with you completely, John. It is just when I look at next season, I look at a Cowboys team that is just like, I just don't see them rebounding quickly because I just don't think they're going to be willing to spend any money or move things around, have that money to spend.
For sure. And it's interesting because I went to the owners' meetings on Wednesday out in Las Colinas, and, there's a lot of NFL personnel there, front office people, but then there's also a lot of the national NFL writers. And it just amazes me how, like, there's no thought of who could be the next Cowboys head coach if they go in another direction. It's just everyone's kind of like, yeah, your guess is as good as mine. And that's so crazy to me because of the fact that the Cowboys are always in the news. Jerry's talking all the time. And it just seems like there'd be at least something that made you feel like, yeah, I don't know. I think he could go for this guy. So if they do move on in the offseason, I'm going to be fascinated to see who that person is that is the coach that they go after, because they have not left any tea leaves to make you think, oh, it could be this guy, it could be that guy. I mean, so many people speculate on Belichick. He gets this Carolina job because he wasn't getting any NFL interest. And it's like the Cowboys, I mean, they're not giving any impression that they have any, like, oh man, we lost our guy. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Bill would probably rather coach the Dallas Cowboys than the North Carolina Tar Heels. And so it just leaves you sitting there going like, okay, so who would be the next person? And it's amazing that there isn't a real good idea.
We did an interview earlier today about 2 hours ago with Ron Rivera. It was a good pre-interview for Jerry. He's ready to get back at it.
Can you imagine selling that to the fan base?
No. I can't.
No. He's such a nice guy, though, John.
Hey, I'm telling you, so is Mike McCarthy. That's why, hey, for my job, I'm fine with Mike McCarthy. I like dealing with him on a day-to-day basis. I always say this about Mike McCarthy. I'd love for him to be my next door neighbor. He's a super nice guy and all. But at the end of the day, you're like, well, he was hired to win playoff games, and he hasn't won playoff games. And so that's the part of the business, especially the Dallas Cowboys. It'd be different if it was some other teams where, for most of my life as a Lions fan, I can just see where you would we're just going to keep going with this coach. That's fine. But with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry at the age he's at, I just don't know how he can just keep running in the same direction and thinking that something's going to change.
100%
Totally agree.
Absolutely. John, enjoy your weekend at watching the Carolina Panthers and Dallas Cowboys.
All right, you guys are going to have a better time, so you guys enjoy your weekend too.
Appreciate it. Jon Machota from The Athletic. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Jon Machota. Subscribe to The Athletic. John and all our guests on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond online at buyersbarricades.com. As we continue here in Washington, D.C., from the Army-Navy Media Row presented by USAA, Heisman winner, Pro Bowl running back Mark Ingram joins us next here on The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, you too can watch that Cowboys-Panthers game, but in a much better spot. You can do it at the Golf Club of Texas. Great place for any football watching activities. Let me give you a couple of reasons why. There's TVs all over the place. The food is fantastic, and they've got a hell of a bar. I'm going to tell you that right now. So you can go out there and have a great time with all your friends. You can take your family out there. But here's even a better idea. Get online right now at golfclubtexas.com. That's golfclubtexas.com. Make your tee time for this weekend. Make it where you can get out there, enjoy the golf course, which has completely been updated all over the place. It is a great place. Play golf, stick around, watch some football. The Tin Cup Restaurant is the best on that side of town, and it just doesn't break the bank to go out there. You can take a whole bunch of folks and have a great time. Golf Club of Texas, you know exactly where it is. Briggs Ranch Road off Highway 90. Whether it's for dinner at the Tin Cup or around with your buddies, your next tournament, go check them out. Again, best rates always online at golfclubtexas.com. The Golf Club of Texas, the friendliest golf course in Texas.
South Texas College Football Headquarters is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And the most wonderful time of the year for fans. Bowl season is no exception. The biggest and best matchups this bowl season are brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Break Room Bar. Hear them all on South Texas' first and only FM sports station, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hello, my name is Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney here in San Antonio representing victims of negligent drivers. When it comes to insurance companies, I hate to state the obvious, but as consumers of insurance products, we as Texans have never had fewer rights than we do right now. Over the past 20 years, our rights as Texas insurance consumers have diminished every year. The insurance lobbyist over that 20 years has been very, very successful. The result, if you're on your own, you have no chance of a fair recovery without an experienced attorney. I was licensed to practice in 1994. Over the past 32 years, I have seen the insurance company's playbook develop. Delay, deny, depose. It's not just crime scene evidence. It's a very real approach most every insurance company takes in responding to the claims of traffic accident victims. Hire someone who knows the game. Hire somebody who wins. Hire me, Jason Thompson. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Or my website, alawyerforus.com.
The holidays are happening at Diamonds Direct. Still rushing to finish your holiday shopping? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Now through Sunday, it's our last chance sale with 20% off virtually everything. Earrings, bracelets, pendants, and more. Plus special financing options up to 5 years. But don't wait. This is your final opportunity to find the perfect gift at the best value before the holidays. Plus special designer appearances. Visit us during extended holiday hours or shop online and pick up in store. Our 20% off last chance sale ends Sunday. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com.
Flight by Yuengling. It's the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass. Raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
This is Rob Thompson from my good friends over at Tri-County Meat Market. You've heard me talk about great deals over and over, and there is no better deal in all of San Antonio than the 5 for 30. 5 items in a bag. You walk out of Tri-County with 2, maybe 3 meals in your bag. No better deal to be found either on Ralph Fair or out on Huebner. Tri-County Meat has everything to up your grilling game. And 5 for 30, go pick that up and come by and thank me later. Tri-County Meat Market.
Being arrested is embarrassing, humiliating, and potentially life-changing. If you want to rewrite the script on the worst night of your life, then you're going to need a stable of aggressive and skilled attorneys. I'm Gary Barton, owner of Barton & Associates, Attorneys at Law. We are here to get your life and reputation back. Visit TexasArrest.com or call 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-million. As a former major crimes prosecutor, I've seen almost every type of arrest scenario play out, from small degree drug accusations to death penalty capital murders. I've handled almost every type of case the state of Texas can charge you with. At Barton & Associates, we know how to flip the script and get your life back on track. Call us at 210-500-0000. That's 210-5-million. Or visit us at TexasArrest.com. That's TexasArrest.com. Barton & Associates, we are here to get your life and reputation back.
Principal Office, San Antonio.
When you are just craving something salty and packs a crunch, Southern Recipe Pork Rinds is your crunch time decision. Game day just got a whole lot crunchier thanks to the powerhouse snack, Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. We're talking about crispy, golden bites of pure awesomeness. Pork rinds are your MVP snack. And get this, they're low carb and high in protein, so you can keep the energy high without the guilt. Don't settle for ordinary on game day. Grab yourself a bag of Southern Recipe Pork Rinds at HEB today.
San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Pro Football Pick'em giveaway is back. Head to USASportsStar.com and pick the winners of each pro football game every week to earn points for each correct pick. Highest points each week wins a $25 gift card to Mellow Mushroom. Highest points overall scores $1,000 worth of tickets from A Awesome Tickets. Pick the winning ticket of every regular season game. Win the grand prize, $50,000. This is an audience national contest across multiple markets. The 50K Pro Football Giveaway. Register and win at SASportsStar.com.
Welcome back to the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix in Washington, D.C. for Army-Navy Radio Row, now joined by legendary running back Mark Ingram, now on television all the time. He got the podcast.
Yes, sir.
The Triple Option podcast.
Yes, sir.
I think of you, and I don't think Triple Option. How did you come up with the name Triple Option Podcast, although it is appropriate for Army-Navy weekend?
It's 3 of us. So it's a triple option. You can go to Rob, you can go to Coach, or you can go to me. You got 3 options. So, a la the triple option.
So did you pick Urban Meyer's brain? What is he talking X's and O's all the time? What is he talking about?
Man, we just talking, man.
Yeah.
We just talking ball, different topics around the game, NIL, college football playoff bracket, wins, losses, just all the things, man. All the things sports, all the things college football. Yeah, and it's just great to have Coach on the show with me, and we've gotten close since being on Big Noon together for the past 2 years. And obviously Rob Stone, I think he's one of the best hosts in the world, man, and how he's able to navigate and just dish it off like John Stockton. You know what I mean? So I just have a great group of guys. I'm thankful to be a part of a good group of people.
And obviously doing the Big Noon show, the idea of everything that you're doing, I think you more National Football League. You know, even though you were at Alabama and did all that, I think you're more of an NFL guy.
Right.
Going the college route and doing that, is that just more fun for you, or was the opportunity there and that's what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everything's about opportunities. And that was the opportunity that presented itself, was for me to be on Big Noon. And that's obviously the college landscape and just the history I had at Alabama and being a Heisman Trophy winner. I can relate to college football. And I've obviously been a huge fan of college football. And obviously, I love to be a part of the NFL, too, and cover some of that because I'm very involved in the NFL. I know many people still on many teams, coaches, GMs, all that. So I'm very intertwined in that world as well. But the opportunity came for me to be able to do this job was through the college route. And I'm so happy to be able to have the job that I have, blessed to be able to have the opportunity I have. A lot of my brothers don't have the smoothest transition leaving the game. So for me to be able to essentially choose to, go to TV route, it was a huge blessing for me. And I love the college game. We go out to the best atmospheres every single week, man. The fans are going crazy. I get to go watch college football games. So I would have went to college campuses and watched games for free. Now I'm getting paid to do it.
There you go.
Just don't say that out loud.
Yeah, right. Don't tell nobody else.
Exactly
don't
right.
tell nobody else.
Work.
You know, Mark, I was a get off your lawn kind of guy about NIL and transfer portal and all that. Dude, I got to admit, college football is about as exciting as it ever has been.
Man, if I always say, if college football was stock, I'm buying it in bulk too. I think, the portal and the NIL, it's kind of crazy, but it's made it equal, kind of like across all of college football. Like when you look at the college football playoff this year, usually you can say, oh, this is the favorite. Like any 5 or 6 teams, I think, could win the national championship right now, and I think that's great for college football. I think the expanded playoff is great, other than Alabama getting not in this year. But yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. College football is so exciting. You're seeing, I think there needs to be a regulation with the NIL, but I am proud that these young men are able to get compensated for their likeness. I think there just needs to be some regulations within that world. But college football is the best, and if it's stock, I'm buying it because it's going up.
It's going up. Now, you did win a Heisman Trophy as we visit with Mark Ingram here on the Blitz. Saturday night, tomorrow night, somebody else is going to join that fraternity. Now, I'm partial to Cam Ward. He was on our show yesterday. Started in Incarnate Word in San Antonio, and his story is
amazing
remarkable.
Story. Yeah.
But I look at, he's not going to win. I think Travis. Who do you think is going to win?
Man, I think all those guys are very deserving. I mean, you can even add Shadur Sanders, Cam Scatterboot, Bryson Daly, even like for Army, you can add him. But Travis Hunter has just had a crazy year. You talk about the best player at 2 positions in the nation. He just won the Blitnikoff. That he wasn't up for the Thorpe is a sin. You know what I mean? But you talk about a guy who's had over 1,000 yards receiving, 15 touchdowns on offense, 4 interceptions, a game-winning forced fumble, and just locks down the whole side of the field. What he's been doing, we haven't seen it done before. We've seen guys play 2 ways, but not at an elite level. People be like, oh, he snaps isn't a stat. It's not a stat. But if you watch him play those snaps, you will see just how important he is, how he impacts the game. But then even Ashton Genty, man, how he's the best player at his position, and how he's if Boise State doesn't have Ashton Genty, they're not in the playoff, let alone have a first-round bye. So I think this race is going to be kind of close because, Dylan Gabriel's taking votes, Cam Ward's taking votes, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Travis Hunter that walks away with it tomorrow night.
Well, let's talk about Travis Hunter because obviously he's going to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And you know what that jump is like.
Yeah.
Even playing at Alabama and then moving into the NFL. What is he going to do? There's no way he plays two ways in the NFL. Is there?
I think he can play both ways, and you do it by letting him be a shutdown corner and having a package of plays for him on offense. So I don't think he'll be every snap on offense, every snap on defense. I think he'll be number one. I think he'll be your number one corner on defense, and I think you get a package of 20 plays for him on offense where he can go out there and touch the ball. And I think that's a way that he can play both ways, and he wants to play both ways. So when you have a player that wants to play both ways and has a desire to play both ways, and all he knows is playing both ways, let him. You draft him high, which will be a high round draft pick. Give him a shot at being successful at doing it. And I think you do that by letting him be a shutdown corner on defense and then spot playing him on offense.
Mark Ingram joining us here on the Blitz, 3-time Pro Bowl running back. You obviously know that position extremely well. Running back in the NFL, a little devalued the last couple of years, although certainly this year you're seeing the value of a running back with what Derrick Henry is able to do, what Saquon is able to do. We're in Cowboys country, and they decided they didn't need a running back this year, bringing back Zeke, bringing in Dalvin Cook, and not even using them.
Healthy scratch, right?
A healthy scratch. I mean, somebody I know let me a case of beer that Dalvin Cook will get 1,000 yards this year for the Cowboys.
He's healthy scratching.
Yeah, I know.
I see him on the sideline and sweats. I'm like, what's going on?
I don't understand.
The devaluation of the running back position has just been beyond me because unless you have Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, you need to be able to control the line of scrimmage and run the football. So if you could run the football, you have a great chance of being able to control that game. And when you run the football with an elite back, now they can run inside, they can run outside, they can come out the backfield, they can catch, they can pick up pass protection. So I'm so proud that Ashton Jeanty showing the value of a running back. Saquon Barkley showing the value of the running back. When you have a special running back, that is invaluable to a team. Look what Saquon is doing. He's having an MVP caliber season. He should be running away with it in flying colors. They didn't do the tush push every time on the 1 yard line.
10 touchdowns.
Yeah, 11
hurts.
11.
Yeah.
At least let him get half of them. Like, come on.
Throw him a bone,
Come
right?
on. Yeah, man.
As a running back, should Saquon say something? Like either to kill him or to...
Well, as a running back, your ass has to score.
Yeah.
You can't fall at the 1 yard line because then it's going to be Jalen Hurts for a touchdown. So, no, but running back is a very integral position, man. You have to do everything. You have to be able to run inside, run outside. You got to be able to come out the backfield and contribute in the pass game. You have to be able to diagnose and pick up pass pressure. And when you have a back that can do that, that's invaluable for an offense.
So do you think it's changed now with the success of Barkley and Henry and some of these guys?
They try to devalue the position because they want an elite running back for a cheaper price. That's why. So it's very strategical from my mind as far as the front office does. It's a strategical thing so you can get these elite runners for a lower price. So I hope it is changing. The Giants, they were stupid. They didn't pay him, and he goes to your arch rival and he's having an MVP season. Now the Titans let Derek walk, out of respect, I believe, for what he's accomplished there. Let him go and try and be with a better program, but he's showing the value of a running back. Even McCaffrey last year, Alvin Kamara. If Alvin he's having a huge year for the Saints. They're not doing really well as far as a record, but he's having a huge year for the Saints. When he's going, that offense is going. So the value of the running back is invaluable to me, and I hope that they continue to compensate these backs for what they're worth. And they haven't been doing that. Every other franchise tag for position has went up over the last 10 years. The running back position has went down. So hopefully we can right the ship the right way, man.
As a running back or as an NFL player, but specifically running backs, when do you know you don't have anything left in the tank? Let's use Zeke as an example. The Cowboys were celebrated, if you will, for making the decision to move on from Zeke. He goes to New England, then they bring him back, and of course the Cowboys get hammered for doing that, and you're seeing the production. When do you as a player know, or is it one of those you play as long as they're paying you and let the game tell you?
I mean, that's always a personal decision. I still feel like I could have been, a productive back, going into my 13th year. I played 12 and I was still training for my 13th year. And then unfortunately, I had some teams calling, but then I had the decision to make that I want to do the Fox thing, that I want to play. And I think it's a personal decision, man. You have to know your body. You have to know, am I running well? Am I moving well? Then at the same time, how they're using you. Because when you get a little older, man, like they're just running Zeke and base personnel. They're running them in between the tackles, and you really can't be too successful when everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's a very difficult thing, but it's something that you have to be honest with yourself about. Am I moving well? Am my body feeling healthy? And you kind of got to diagnose it, man. And you got to know when. You got to know when. Can you deal with the bull crap, or do you want to move on? You know what I mean? So it's a difficult. That's a difficult question. It's a good question. It's a difficult question, but I think that's something that you have to know as an individual when to call it.
What was your favorite thing to do as a running back? Do you like catching the ball out of the backfield? Or what was your favorite?
I loved making plays, man. I just loved it. So they didn't use me a lot as a receiver, although I had 150 catches over a 3-year span, which is more than some number 2 receivers. So I took pride in my ability to come out of the backfield and make plays. But man, I just wanted to rock. I wanted the ball and I wanted to make plays. So put me in space and let me go to work. And most of the time, they ran me into base personnel, 13 personnel, 1 tight end. I mean, 1 receiver, 3 tight ends, fullback, 2 tight ends. So like the way that I got used wasn't always ideal for me, but I tried to make the best of every touch, no matter what. So you all you can do is control your attitude, how you prepare, and what you do. You know what I mean? You can't control how you're going to be used, when you're going to be used, if you get hurt or not. You can control how you prepare, your attitude, your demeanor, and the type of effort you give when you do touch the ball. And so I would try not to be frustrated with things that I couldn't control, and control what I could control, is what I did with the ball when I had a chance to get it.
When you look at the Cowboys' current running back room and what Rico Dowdle's done the last couple of games, and he's looking like a legit number 1 running back, Is he a kind of player that the Cowboys can move forward with him as RB1, or do they need to go find an RB1 this offseason?
I think he's been playing really well, and it's just continued growth. It's continued growth, continued improvement. And as long as you continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to improve, I think he's had a great foundation to start with. And so when you have a back like that who's going out there being productive, making plays, and doing a little bit of everything, that's something that you could be positive with. That's something that you can be excited about from an organizational standpoint. So as long as he keeps growing, continue to keep learning, not being complacent, I think that's something that you can move forward with in the future.
Let's devalue the quarterback a little bit. What do you think?
Devalue average quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the average quarterback shouldn't be getting 50 million, 45 million. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's devalue the average quarterbacks. Now, the elite ones, they deserve their money. You know what I mean? But just the average guy making $45 million just because you're the starter for
Daniel Jones, maybe?
Hey, I didn't want to say the name. hey. I didn't want to say the names, but there you go, right there.
Yeah.
45 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the market though. That's the market for the quarterback, man. Every position has a market. Unfortunately, the running back probably has the least market right now. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, devalue the mid quarterbacks.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
He's got a Heisman Trophy, 3-time Pro Bowler. Mark Ingram, the podcast, the triple option,
Yes,
Big
sir.
Noon.
Yes, sir.
You're busy in retirement.
Man, I'm thankful, man. I got a good opportunity. I'm with some great people, and I'm just thankful and blessed that I'm able to keep going.
Mark, appreciate you jumping on with us here on Army Navy Radio Row.
I thank you guys for having me. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Mark Ingram here on Army Navy Radio Row, but it's not just all about football on this Friday, because after a long break, the Spurs are back in action.
Well, it's about time.
This is Game Night San Antonio on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Vassell, step back three.
Every game night, the Blitz with Jason and Joe get you inside and ready for tonight's game. Players, coaches, insiders. This is Game Night San Antonio.
Wembanyama!
And the pregame starts right now.
That's right. The Spurs at Portland tonight after, man, it feels like a month.
That's been, 4 days? 4 or 5 days. It's been a while because of the whole Emirates Cup tournament. Spurs are out of it, so they're back in action in Portland tonight. We were talking about it yesterday, though. That break was a blessing in disguise for Wemby, who had some back issues. But he said the rest helped him, and he feels a lot better.
Well, and again, I mean, you probably the break is good for a variety of things. One, obviously, Wemby getting his back a little bit of rest because he's never really dealt with back issues. And, you know, at his age, you don't want them to become issues. But also they had a couple of days of practice. And that's probably good for a young team like this to just be able to get some practice time in. Weird having a spring break, or let's call it a winter break since it's cold. But it'll be interesting to see how they come out and play tonight after this long break. Will they be a little bit rusty, or will a couple of days of practice actually show in tonight's game?
Well, they should be able to handle the Portland Trailblazers. That's for sure. Portland not playing well. I think they're in the tank mode already in this season, so looking for a number one draft pick. But Spurs ought to be able to handle this Portland team tonight. Look, they've been up and down. It's the best way to describe them, don't you think, Jason? I mean, there'll be some games where the Spurs look really good and they're firing on all cylinders. And then there's some games that, well, quite frankly, if they get cold from the outside, because this is a 3-point shooting team, and they have really turned into that.
Well, and again, that's the NBA in today's world, so that's not a surprise. But, you know, one of the cool things for like Joe and I right now in Washington, D.C. at Army Navy Radio Row, we're talking to, you know, a whole bunch of sports radio hosts from all across the country. I think there's 28, 30 radio stations here, and then other, you know, military outlets and TV shows, some national shows with Sirius XM. And that's the question, you know, it's Wemby. And, you know, last couple of years, Spurs, huh? Which was different when they were winning championships. But the Wemby difference, and then you add in the Steph Castle part of it too. You know, and it's fun just hearing from people from other parts of the country, whether it be Atlanta or Portland. Ironically, we were talking to the guy who's the Oregon Ducks sideline reporter, and he does a midday show there in Portland. And obviously, we were talking about tonight's game earlier, and you know, it's just interesting, just the overall perception of the Spurs again, and everybody is saying it won't be long. It won't be long.
I don't think it will be. It's going to be interesting to see what the Spurs do in the offseason. You know, how aggressive are they going to be? It doesn't look like that Atlanta pick is going to turn out like everybody was hoping. Atlanta's playing some pretty good basketball, and I think they'd be the 5th or 6th seed in the East right now. They're close. They're right in that area. So everybody hoping that they would have another opportunity. They're the 7th seed right now. They're 14-12. Everybody hoping that the Spurs would have another opportunity. They may not get that opportunity with that Hawks pick. So that's going to be interesting to see. So what do they do? Where do they go? Chris Paul, does he come back? He says he wants to play another year or two with that interview he did with Tony Parker. But I don't know if he comes back or not.
I don't know either, but I mean, you listen to him in that interview with Tony Parker when talking about how much longer.
You know how long you want to play? Any thoughts about that and what you want to do after basketball?
Yeah, man, maybe a year or two. I'm still trying to fill it out. I think at this point, the hardest part is, like, I love this. Like, practice today, all that. I love hooping. I love all of that. The hardest part is when I get home and I got to watch my kids' games on my iPad or whatnot. And so that's the tug of war right now.
And then, of course, in that same interview, Tony Parker, that was a fun interview to watch him do, you know, talked about why he would choose the rebuilding San Antonio Spurs.
Like, I wonder with you, like, why the Spurs? Like, why a team that is rebuilding?
Last year was probably one of the toughest years for me, right? And TP, you know, more than anything, I just love to hoop. Like, I want to play. And then for me, Jada and the kids, they stay in LA, right? So, you know, with your 2 kids now, if I'm going to, like, sacrifice my family and be away from them, then I at least need to be playing.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So nobody's guaranteed to win. Right? It's only one team that's going to win. And I think for me, you know, I looked and I was like, man, I can go play. I can go hoop.
And what he says is absolutely spot on. And he said many, many times before, he just wants to play ball. He loves playing ball. And that's you got to admire that of him. And he obviously wants to play as long as he can. Is he in the Spurs plans moving forward, though? That's going to be it. I would imagine he is, depending on what they do. But I'm ready for this team to really get into that rebuilding mode. What they have now, perhaps, other than Wemby, Vassell, and maybe you throw Sohan in the mix there as well. Everything else, I think they can improve on.
Yeah, I'm ready to see playoffs again, and then hoisting titles. I feel like we've been in rebuilding for a long time. That's going to do it for us in this very cold building that we are sitting in here in a very cold Washington, D.C. Army-Navy game tomorrow. Listen to it here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Brought to you by the Break Room Bar in Live Oak and Ewald Kubota, of course, on television on CBS. What an incredible day here at Army-Navy Radio Row. Fun conversations, not once but twice, with Joe Theismann, who just came back walking by and picked up the headsets. Ron Rivera, we assisted Jerry, a pre-interview for that. Obviously, Mark Ingram, who you just heard, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. Jacob Hester. I mean, just an incredible day here on Army-Navy Radio Row.
It's been fantastic. It always is here, thanks to USAA. We appreciate that. What a lot of fun. Can't wait for the game tomorrow.
Extra innings with Pledge coming up next here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Taking you home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6. KTFM, Floresville.